That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not Madman Matt, so I'm not going to tell you to bring out your quarters, but welcome to Side Quest Arcade. Today, we have Matt is the better host than me. Can I just say? This is why we started the show, and I said, Matt, you're hosting. From day one.
Dude.
Fuck me.
Dude's a master hoster.
I'm sure he's master of many things. But, now I'm all VD2 start. God.
Now I'm so.
Welcome to Side Quest Arcade, the podcast.
Flint, you got this shit?
No, I'll fucking try to. Whatever.
Flint,
I don't do the links.
You do this shit.
All right. Welcome to Side Quest Arcade, the podcast by gamers. I'm your host, CanadianIce, and with me are my IRL friends and stupid sister. Starting with Brian, aka Happiness.
Hey, everybody, how's it going?
CanadianIce, our resident 12-year-old.
Not 12, by the way. Please.
12, by the way.
12,
And
by the way.
the other resident 12-year-old, my sister, MysticManatee.
Also, not 12. Thanks.
I'm sorry. I guess
Feels
they don't
12,
know.
man.
I was 100% with Flint with the, baby sister is always 12 jokes until my sister got pregnant, and then the joke became weird.
Yeah, that's the cutoff right there.
She was 27 going on 28, which was actually 27 going on 12, and now she's 28 going. Oh no, she's pregnant.
Yeah, now she's 28 going on a full-fledged adult. That's it.
12-year-old pregnant jokes. That's just not happening.
Dude.
That's the cutoff right there. That's the
line
line.
you don't cross.
All right. Yeah, that's us. We're introed.
So
Can't remember the rest of
somebody's wondering, wait, why do we got two 12-year-olds instead of Bearded Wonder and Godzilla Lover? Well,
Bearded Wonder.
You make him sound like a fucking circus.
He's like a bearded lady.
Step right up. Here's,
See the Bearded Wonder.
Whatever it is. Oh no.
Bryce is he's heading to Texas finally. He's been talking about his move forever. First he was, packing, and then his wife took off, moved with, I was going to say took off without him, but no, she's still with him. But, she moved to Texas early because she had the job to start at right away. And now he's kind of got his job stuff, I think, somewhat figured out. So now he's finally moving to Texas, his place in Maryland. He's done with it. And so he's got no internet right now. His computer's unhooked and in a box, so he can't record. And then Matt was gonna make it, and then basically all he said was, "Mill is code red. We have problems. I'm working for the next 9 straight days, all 14-hour night shifts."
That's it.
So
And what can you do?
And not wanting to just do me and Flint, we brought on the two 12-year-olds we knew.
That's it. Not that we couldn't carry the episode, but we thought, why don't we just have two 12-year-olds? That makes one 24-year-old. That's another podcast host. We can do it that way. It'll be fine.
I see how it is. Is that some quick math?
Yeah, 12 plus 12 is 24. That's quick math. Can't speak English, but I can do arithmetic all right.
That's this is going to turn out exactly like it did the first time Flint was on, where me and Matt talked 100% of the episode. Flint said 4 words, and we're like, cool, we had a third person.
Dude, I was too nervous. Too nervous, dude. I couldn't do it.
Can't do it. Not today.
Fucking relaxed. Got my Superman shirt on, my shades on. I'm ready to rip.
Ready to
I'm boiling
rip.
alive,
Fun.
but I also love my blanket, so.
All right. So I think to
worth
kick
the
us off for this
sacrifice.
episode, Aiden, how was your week, my dude?
Overall, I played a lot of games, actually. I haven't been playing Smite as much as I usually do, because, I don't want to log on and then just fucking be on and wait for somebody to invite me to a party. So I only get on if I know people are on. And so, but recently, I don't know if it was, I guess in this week, Derek started playing Smite a bit again. So me and him were ripping out a few games every day or so. Those actually went surprisingly well. Just before this, I got my ass handed to me in Omnipotent, and let me tell you, when an enemy Thanatos has 37 kills, please just surrender. I don't want to sit through the extra 10 minutes of them farming us in Fountain before fire minions finally in the game. I want to get on to the next one so I can auto lock Loki and have a better time. please. That's all I want. Aside from that, we also had the D&D, which was fucking dope. I nearly died. Feels bad. I think that's
you
pretty
didn't
much
die,
it.
though, buddy. You didn't die.
Didn't.
And you're back. And
It was
you're back.
close.
Fiona did
Force
not have
prayers. No,
I just
she was too
I-
busy being a
I had
bear on the
time.
ground. An epileptic bear.
5 nat 1s will do that to you.
Oh, I got
too
that.
many.
I got that boss fight story down. Don't you worry.
Oh boy.
Brian's ready to do
Actually,
that.
not to interrupt, but I know I do this all the time when I'm recording. I think Aiden, your mic volume's a little high. Try turning down your gain a little bit. Your voice is also really bassy, so it's deeper than all
Just
of ours.
gently caress the game mic
If you
and
turn
just,
it, I think try now.
just
Isn't that better?
slightly nudge it. in the-
Flint was talking.
Is that better?
Oh yeah, way better, way better.
That was a little better.
Cool.
Oh man, that D&D session though, that was fucking great.
That was legendary.
Oh,
It was a lot.
I've been thinking about it, and like I've got the description for this down, but we'll save it for now. Were you doing anything else though, or mostly just D&D and some Smite with Derek?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Can't really. Yeah, that covers it.
All right.
Fiona, how's your week been?
I did actually play a bit of Smite. Mostly played with Freya though. That went well. And then I had a match as Bologna and I died 10 times, and
Oof.
so I decided to stop that. But I also what did I do? I was playing Smite. I was like just entering an arena match, and the power just goes bye. Like everything just shut off. I was like, oh no. It didn't come back on for a couple hours, so I couldn't play after that.
AFK from game. That's
Yeah.
a report.
Yeah,
I reported you myself.
I bet.
I won a support ticket in high res.
I was actually-
believe you did that.
I had 9 Smurfs and I was all the other people just so I could report you 9 times for leaving.
Have fun with that man.
Yeah.
That's it.
But yeah, the D&D session too, so that was fun until I got like 5 nat 1s and literally just stopped working altogether. The one time I used my like super powerful move and I just can't fucking hit anything.
Who would have
Weird,
imagined that you
ENC.
would just roll so badly? I can't believe you guys rolled so badly. I've never done that.
Oh
It's
yeah.
all 15 and 20s
I
for
kind
me.
of feel like there was an airship at
Don't
one
remember
point and you
Don't recall.
almost died several
Don't
recall.
times.
Don't group
Sorry,
me
And
in
I
with,
must
with
saved
these
you several
fucking.
times.
You must have
low
played another
rollers.
game of D&D. All I remember is smooth sailing and lots of high rolls.
Mhm. You don't
Yeah.
remember almost hurtling to your death outside the,
No, that
the
didn't
ship
happen.
there?
That didn't.
That didn't happen?
I
Must
remember
have
Flint
slipped his
playing a
mind.
game of Duck Duck Goose with the big spider boss, but
Yeah, and a game that I won.
Eventually.
It took a couple rounds of combat, but I won. So we're clean. We're clean. You do anything else this week, or are you just being 12?
I was
Watching
never
cartoons.
being 12, but that's about it. I watched some. I finished Sword Guy. I watched Sword Guy, but that's about it.
Tell us about Sword Guy. What's up?
It was
What the
a
fuck
good
is this
show.
about? The guy with the sword, or
Yeah.
what is that? The whole plot?
Well, his name is Guy, and he's also a guy, but he's got
Wow, it's 2018.
a
That's
sword
twice
was
the guy.
reforged to be an arm for him, but it's also got a demon in it, so sometimes it takes him over.
Could he have rented
Whoa.
like a not demon arm? Maybe.
Wrong. That's just too easy.
It was the only option.
Yeah.
The only,
You know,
only arm.
he's
okay.
apprenticed to a swordsmith, so I feel like that was the correct course of action.
Non-demon sword probably would have been better. Anyway, I guess I know you want to tell the D&D story, Brian.
I want you can
Like-
talk about everything but the final boss fight.
Yeah.
I had way
that's what I
too
was
much
doing.
time in camp to think about it. How
All
was
right,
the rest
well-
of your week though, Flint?
The rest of my week was good. I did try out Fight of the Gods. I said I was going to do it. First impression is it is just a horrible mess, but I love every minute of it. The controller didn't work. Like the buttons were like it didn't have Xbox One support, so like none of the buttons were mapped correctly. I had to go in and individually map buttons. My up and down weren't working for some reason. It was wild, but it was good. I played some Santa Claus. Like I said, he's broken as fuck. He's so good. This game, it doesn't have online though, so I did like the whole arcade. I beat everyone. I did the whole story mode. It was lit, and then I realized I can't get mad on the stick. Santa Claus.
Not gonna be
like,
getting
I'm
it.
heartbroken. It's early access, so I'm just like praying. I'm like, fight of gods, please add online mode. I'm sure the servers will be just as good as your button mapping and graphics and just everything in between. But please add a multiplayer mode. And speaking of the graphics, oh my god! So after playing so much Smite, I have like this image of what God should look like in my head. None of them were correct at all. I was like, it was like time to fight Freya, and like this little like Japanese girl like hopped out, and she's like, ha ha! And I was like, what? Who are you?
But Freya's
going
not
on
a
here?
Japanese god.
No, I know. Like Amaterasu looked more like a serious Japanese god, but like all the like a lot of the girl gods are just like little weeb girls, and I was like, what? You don't look like Freya. Is the real
Something's
Freya
up
like out
here.
actually doing important stuff on the battleground of the gods, and you're just like filling in? You're like, yeah, that's me. Guan Yu's still called Guangdong. He's broken too, which I'm sure if Matt ever does get the game, he's gonna be super fucking zooted about. He's gonna be a Guan Yu main in that too. And like the graphics were just, it's like you remember like, you guys won't remember because you're 12, but Brian, you remember like when you're doing like a PowerPoint for the first time in like middle school, and it was like, yeah, and you discovered word art for the first time.
Definitely.
It's like graphics are like that. It's like big blocky flaming letters like 5 combo, and it's like this big flaming 5 and shit like that. I was like,
Yeah,
ooh,
I recall
ooh.
making some pretty horrendous movie covers with word art.
Oh wow, we do that like 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
No,
I'm gonna be honest. I have no idea what word art is.
That's because you're 12. I think once you get to high school,
And
they
you
might
wonder
show
why.
you how to use some Microsoft programs. I mean, if you need any Excel help, I can help you out for sure. But
I just rapidly aged.
Dude, do you excel at the use of that?
You went
That
from 4 to
program?
12.
you could say I do.
You could word it like that if you were.
Oh,
so
I see.
inclined.
I see.
Oh, yeah. What else did I play? I did play some Smite too. Chernobog's dumb as fuck. I don't know. Everyone was saying he's bad. I know it's like Storm did a whole video on it actually about how his kit doesn't flow, and I agree, and I definitely see where people are saying like he's not a very original god, where like his abilities are just other classes just rolled into a hunter. Doesn't mean he's not broken though. In true Smite fashion, you can 100-0 someone in like an ability and 2 autos. It's pretty dumb. So I played a few games of that. It was wildly unbalanced because everyone was playing the new god, and I was like, I'm gonna go back to playing Santa Claus. So I've just been doing that, editing a lot. I'm getting all the clips together for Matt and I's video, and I've been getting ready for D&D. Not that it's gonna take too long, just tweaking the audio and such. So that's been my week. Brian, how's your week? How's your week been?
Well, so we recorded last Wednesday.
Yeah.
We recorded Thursday last week. I can't remember.
Wednesday
anyway,
or Thursday, one of those days.
I think we did record Thursday, and then we played D&D Friday. And so, like, we recorded Thursday, and then I played a little bit of XCOM before going to bed because I had Friday off. Then I woke up, and I played some XCOM Friday morning instead of preparing for D&D. But it was okay. You know, when you have the whole day off, like, I still had, like, 3 hours to kind of do it. And most of that shit that we've done, like, we're finally through the content I made for the first session. Like, I thought that we would get... Now, mind you that the whole Cyber Dragon thing was definitely added after the first session. I made the first 2 maps, the whole combat, and all of the loot was planned before the first session for the first 2 dungeons. So now I got to start actually making new shit again. And they continue to fight spiders. They fought a bunch of scorpions that kind of threw them off the Hell in the Cell as they kept grappling them. Then they had the choice to go left or down, and I'm sitting there as a DM. I'm like, just go down. The left is just pain and suffering and no loot. Just go down. Just go down. They went left. So
Listen,
we then fought the waves and waves and waves and waves of like I don't know, it must have been like 60 spiders. We're coming at you guys.
it was a lot of spiders,
a lot
dude.
of spiders.
There
Too
was
many.
a lot of shit. And then they went right, and then they went... I actually had another fight to the right, but it took so long to do the first 2 fights. I actually deleted it while you were fighting the first one and just said, let's just get
You're looking at the
fucking
watch like, "Ooh, boys, they're not getting through this in 2 sessions. So let's get it out of here."
Like, I want to do the boss fight. Just delete these like 7 monsters. Fuck it. Because we're not doing EXP anyway. We're doing story leveling. So
Yeah,
if
that's
you'd have
good.
gone right, I'd have left them. If you'd have gone, although I think the right fight was easier than the left fight.
I would hope so, because holy shit, it was just like horde after
I'm so glad you
horde.
didn't explore further, because down to the left of that, I mean, spoilers, I guess it's technically there for when you're leaving next week, but there's also like 60 more spiders with a dead end, just a little farther to the bottom left. So don't go down there.
What sort of madman are you?
I'm just gonna avoid that. I think.
Yeah. For
I
time's
had
sake,
fun,
let's
but
just
no.
not.
It's
I mean,
time,
they
it's time to
would have
keep
died
the
anyway,
story
right?
moving. I would have died. No.
It was an easier
they
fight.
wouldn't be
it was
there.
just a bunch more minions. But anyway, so then they got over to the boss fight, which was the big mechanical spider. And when I look back on that fight, I realized that if you look at that fight from Flint's perspective, from Bjorkis's perspective, you can really tell this like every Redditor's rants about a shitty match in Smite or any competitive game like you wouldn't believe. So here's what I'm going to do. Even though I'm the DM and I'm seeing it from the DM side, I'm going to tell this a little bit from Flint's side, all right?
Word.
And we're going to involve more than Smite, so somebody can get their shot glasses ready. So we're going to involve some Smite, some Heroes of the Storm, some Overwatch. But so first off, you got Flint.
I
Right?
did hear League of Legends, Brian.
Yeah. Well, we'll start off with that. So here we are, right? Flint's telling his story on Reddit. He's out here and he's ready to rant about this shitty matchmaking in D&D. All right? He's fully admitting, but it's like super powerful that he's playing full damage knockoff Alistair from League of Legends. And he's like, I'm the only one doing anything. So to start off the fight, of course, we have Aiden here playing gender bent knocked off Nova from StarCraft 2 and from Heroes of the Storm, running up way into the front enemy line, shooting it, and then just getting themselves killed, like every Nova does ever in Heroes of the Storm.
Yes, very true.
Did lots of damage though.
I'll get there. And then he comes. That was actually one of the lines I was going to say. And then at the end of the match, even though he's with the highest death count on the team and the lowest kill count, he's bragging about his damage numbers at the end of the match. Again, typical Nova player.
You got me.
When he just got into trouble, he decides it's best to run away from the team instead of towards his allies.
Made sense at the time.
I'm gonna be real, like that was the one decision I was like, man, are you sure? Are you sure of that?
You sure about that?
But I was too dumb. I was too dumb in character. I was like, I can't
But
metagame this.
and match lobby, the Nova player, the gender bent knockoff Nova is just going, guys, I did the most damage. Come on.
Come on.
Anyway,
I mean, I'm right.
here I am. I'm the only, I'm full damage knockoff Alistair, which if you've never played League of Legends, Alistair is a support. And I look down to my right, and I've got AFK Reinhardt being played by, not being played by Andrew. Sitting
Also being
there
played by me.
fighting a low-level Arachne, but surprisingly, because he's AFK, he's losing. We've got Artio down here, who must have 300 ping because she's swinging at the air.
Damn shame.
Stressful. It was such a stressful
Even in
fucking
my
fight.
thick
And
Going
we've
on.
got Frog-Faced Zenyatta being played by Otaku, trying his best to keep the AFK tank alive instead of going and helping the dead Nova. Meanwhile, the Nova's typing in chat, GG, team won't help.
Team didn't help.
And
Except
here's
for
Alistair
Bjorkis.
running around, being the only person on the team focusing the actual objective, while the rest of his team, 300 ping Artio, AFK Reinhardt, and Frog-Faced Zenyatta, fighting a under-leveled Arachne and losing 3v1.
It was a special sight to see.
You know what?
Like 0 rolls
I don't-
above a 7. It was.
So to finish
was-
off your Reddit post, Flint, you end with GG matchmaking and low res.
Yeah, GG low res did all the fucking work.
Fix your fucking game.
Fix your fucking game. I'll be real, like I was IRL mad. I had like my fucking bottle opener in my hand. And I was just squeezing it every time someone missed a roll. I was like, ah, hit one, shit, hit one. I was missing shit too, but I was like, man, like if we just kill this. So if you didn't get Brian's beautiful description, by the way, there was a giant mechanical spider and there was 2 smaller ones, and the 3 fucks that weren't dead were missing every single fucking roll. On
It took like
little
10
stuff.
turns.
One little spider. Meanwhile, Brian's got his spider moving at fucking maximum zoom velocity all around the map, and I'm just like, I'm chasing after him as the barbarian, full sprint, like I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna fucking kill you. He blasts me back like 3-4 times at least. And all I was doing was just run up behind him, punch him in the ass, and then like next turn Brian would just run away, and then I'd have to follow him again, punch him in the ass. It was just, oh, it was so frustrating.
Except you missed like 3/4 of your hits on the spider too.
But I was focusing the giant spider.
So there's
I
a spider
tried to
that's
help.
like 100 health, and there's a spider with 20 health. 3 people are trying to kill the spider with 20 health and only 15 armor, and not hitting it. And Flint's chasing down the giant creature with 100 health, and that's actually, the boss, not just the
Not just a minion.
ads or whatever they're called in fucking World of Warcraft. But yeah, so short answer, Aiden ran up, got his ass kicked real hard, ran away from the team, almost died. There he's sitting there bleeding out. The team just left him there to die. Flint's actually trying to chase down the important objective, and the other 3 people were sitting there swinging and missing at one monster.
Listen,
One.
I tried to help you with the spider at some point.
Failed.
I just
It didn't
failed
work.
miserably.
It didn't
Failed
work.
miserably.
I'd like
worked
to-
not as well as when I threw that seed at Johanna.
I gotta be real though, when I finally got that fucking spider and it died, I was rabies, I was euphoric. I was like, it was when you said, how do you want to do this? I was like, oh, I hit the fucking kill it. Finally, after all these years, my
You really could
nemesis
not be
ghost spider
contained.
will die. It was great. I loved it. That was like, if I wasn't already like down to play D&D, that moment right there like solidified it. I was so happy.
Yeah, all right. Listen,
Like,
in my
I was
defense,
right
all right,
to do it.
let me I may have ran up. This is true. But
May
it
have
was
run
to
away
hit.
the wrong direction.
Oh,
This is also
But
true.
he knocked me back 3 squares, so I'm like, I could
You
run
have
the
7
one
squares
way.
of movement.
Yeah, so it would have only taken him 4 squares to catch up to me. I assumed
With
he
like,
wouldn't be a
2
zoomy
tanks
boy.
and a barbarian between you and him.
I assumed he wouldn't be such a zoomy boy.
He was
No,
like
actually,
30
I
feet
wouldn't- I
tall
wouldn't have made
with
it-
legs like bigger than you. Why would he not be zoomy as fuck? He's a giant spider. Have
Because
you
he's
seen how fast
giant.
the
Big
little
things
ones
are slow. I expected the big thing to
DM,
be
if you'd have
slow.
died, it'd be like, ha, that was stupid.
That was dumb.
Yeah.
I was like, Brian plays XCOM for like he fucking lives in his XCOM world. Like you don't think he's gonna punish that tactical misplayed? Come on now.
Oof.
Don't think he was looking at that like, oh, I
I think I counted the squares in my head, and even with my 7 movement, I wouldn't have made it to like close
I
to
was
them.
literally looking at your screen, and I was like, okay, Aiden will probably move over here, because I can usually predict what the players are going to do a little bit, plan 3 stages ahead. And then you ran that way, and I went, what? All right,
I
okay.
didn't- I didn't-
Kind of like someone gangster lane, but they're under level. And you're like, for real?
I nearly got out, but action points. They're a thing.
Points, don't you?
Yeah,
unfortunate.
yeah, action points, man. Which you guys keep forgetting exist, but I keep forgetting to remind you they exist. You are new players. Until the
Yeah,
I've been
actual-
using them.
I think the best way to learn that action points exist is when the boss uses an action point to fuck you really hard.
Oh yeah.
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 Aiden got,
No.
Aiden got the knockback, and I was like, oh, we clean. And then you're like, and he uses second action point. I'm like, what?
Where
Like,
did you get
oops.
that?
Where? What? And so now I
What
remember
went down?
now. I remember now. It's in the.
I've been using mine. In my defense, I have been
Oh,
using mine.
I straight up have. If I just miss, I'm just like, I guess that's it. I just fucking miss.
Also, in Aiden's defense, his intelligence is 8.
I'm not the smartest,
So
both
Yeah,
in
that's
real
fine.
life
Smarter
and in
than
character.
you. I
So
don't know. I didn't touch my intelligence stat, but I'm still smarter than you, Aiden. I don't know how
which
that
is
happened.
upsetting. He's literally half full.
That's the joke. That's the
From
joke
one-
between the two
from-
characters.
From one elf to another, I'm severely disappointed in you.
You're an Eladrin. You're not an elf.
Yeah. No,
close
that
to
means
it.
I'm a better elf.
Wow.
Well, now
we're
he's
we're
getting
bringing
racist.
race into this? Is that what's
Yeah,
going
wow,
down here?
hold on. All elves are
Yeah.
born equal.
Yeah, come on now.
Eladrins are automatically better.
Oh yeah.
I see. Left the elders because there's too stuck up, shaking my head.
Yeah. Don't worry.
Get off my headphones, or I will strangle you with your own headphone cord.
Oh god.
It's long enough.
Your tiny 12-year-old arms couldn't do it. Anyway, moving on. Moving on.
So
I think
I think to move on to the next section, there's a little bit more from games this week for me, but I feel like I can't handle the jealousy of Flint right now. Just 1 second.
Hold on, let's go. Oh shit!
Oh hell
Oh,
yeah.
Oh
shit.
shit, he's got the
Oh, sorry, Brian. I
aviators.
didn't mean it.
The
I didn't mean it.
aviators.
I didn't see it coming.
Oh,
I saw them beside
Oh,
my
no.
desk and I went, "Oh, this has to happen."
well, this.
I
Yeah.
can't see fuck all, but this was worth it.
Don't worry, I got you. I got you.
So if you see
Seems
my face
good.
getting really close to the camera, I'm trying to read the chat.
Trying to get up in chat.
Not optimal is the most recent thing written in the chat. Good to know.
Hell yeah.
Oh shit! Yeah. No. Now it's oh shit
Now it's oh shit. But
by Brian
so-
with Jaja.
Oh man, this is so weird. Now my eyes are trying to refocus. But anyway, worth it. So the other thing I did this week. So first off, like Friday wasn't actually my anniversary. It was a week after my anniversary, but it was the first time me and my wife had free. So we went out and did a nice romantic trip out to the mountains. I posted some pictures of Whammy in real life. Saturday's actually when we played D&D. I got my Friday and Saturday mixed up. And then Sunday we were supposed to do shit, but I was so tired from like Friday and Saturday that we just said, fuck it, we'll just stay home. So I sat around and I played, I finished XCOM 2. And when I was finishing XCOM 2, I forgot from the first time I played XCOM 2 how much I disliked the ending. And the way they did the sequel is just, I don't know. I think maybe if it wasn't like the second game in the series, it wouldn't have been so bad. So I think to kick off our discussion, which for this week our topic was going to be sequels. You know, the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever. Talking sequels we love, sequels we hate. I'll start talking about XCOM. And for those, concerned, we might talk about Infinity War, but I think we should avoid spoilers for Infinity War. It's too fresh. But I think for XCOM, one, the amount of people that are probably interested in playing it have probably already played it. And two, its story, while it's engaging enough, it's not like the most cinematic story in a game. The game's definitely more about its gameplay than it is about its story. It's no Witcher 3 by any stretch. But you take Witcher 1, right? Or Witcher 1. XCOM 1.
You take Witcher 1, talking about XCOM here. We take Witcher 1 and you just kind of put it in a tactical RTS setting, and you've got XCOM.
Way more future tech. But so XCOM 1, right? It was kind of made as this like singular, like start to finish entity. And, it was based on like, I think classic like 80s games or 90s games. Like it was like 20 years later, they like rebooted the series with XCOM 1. And in XCOM 1, you go from the aliens invading to now defending your planet to the point that you literally go and you kill the elders that are leading the aliens by going through like a scientific portal. And, you destroy them. Like you have won the war. Everything is over. The elders are dead. Right? Great. Good to go. And then when XCOM 2 was coming out, 2-3 years later, they actually for this part of the sequel, they did something that I loved. I thought this was brilliant. And I think I talked about it last week, but I'll talk about it again. Where they said at the end of the game, or, when they looked at the stats for XCOM 1, and they looked at the percentage of people that bought the game versus the percentage of people that actually completed the game based on achievements and whatever else and stats they can have, because they can do that through Steam, they realized that it was only like 15% of people actually finished the game. And so they got to a certain point that most people got to, and then said, you know what, from here, there's not enough action taken that the aliens were really even hindered. The aliens won in game 1. This is now canon. And I thought that was brilliant to start off XCOM 2. You're 20 years into the future because, they said because the players didn't, whatever. So now you're building up. You're starting as a resistance faction. So instead of being already a global force, most of the world has kind of allied with the aliens, handshaken and come to quotations peace. But it's not really peace. They're just kind of pretending peace, right? And you know that they're actually evil. So you're this resistance against the aliens. And, there's a whole bunch of gameplay improvements. I think mechanically the game is way better than XCOM 1. And then you go through the story, and then you get to a part where I felt like maybe I was only halfway through the story. Like, they even show the elders in XCOM 2 doing things, talking a little bit, which they never really did in XCOM 1. The elders were kind of like, we discovered that the elders rule these aliens. We killed them. This solves the problem. Most of the aliens we are fighting are actually genetic mutations made by the elders and sent as just living weapons. So the aliens that are here, they're being controlled by these elders. By killing the elders, you literally free these races that are just being, made into like mindless soldiers.
Weird slaves.
Yeah. And so, but the XCOM 2, like, I get to this point and we're fighting. Okay, we interrupt their research. And I feel like we're just getting into it. Okay, when are we going to get ready to, like, fight the elders and do whatever? And then the game's just like, oh, yeah, by the way, like, the last mission is send out a broadcast, and now, you show that the aliens are actually evil to all the people, and now the people are resisting up against it. And you're getting into this big scale as now, instead of just being a resurgent force, it's actually like a full-on Earth versus aliens war, and that's the end of the game. The entire objective of the second game is just to rally the people. But I think maybe if even that was just like a first game, it could feel okay. But because you go from XCOM 1 to XCOM 2, which are in canon, in order beside each other, to also have XCOM 1 having an ending where you save the entire planet, and to then XCOM 2 only get halfway there and really just start the war, I feel like I was playing a prologue instead of a sequel, right? But it's 20 years later, but then it's a prologue for the future series. And as much as I'm stoked to play more XCOMs, because I'm pretty confident they're working on XCOM 3, I just felt kind of fucking, like, let down by just, like, what fucking... I was ready to make this comparison to movies, but, like, I hate two-parter movies for the most part. I think Infinity War did a good job, but, like, when they announced... I hated the trend when it was like, oh, Harry Potter 7, done in 2 parts. I'm like, the first movie always sucks. Fucking Hunger Games was the worst for that. The Hunger Games movie 3, which was a 2-parter for the last book, was terrible. It was just miserable the whole time. Everything sucked forever, and there wasn't even a beacon of fucking hope. It was just a movie about how dismal their lives are, so that I guess in the next movie you can do it. But if you're committed to the fucking series, you're forced to watch it if you want to see it through to the end. And I don't even remember if I finished the 4th movie or even watched the 4th movie. The 3rd movie was so bad, in my opinion. I hate that just kind of like, you're really only playing this so that you're forced to play the next one to see the conclusion done. And that I was really disappointed in that.
Why they do it? Like, it makes sense to me why they're like, oh, we have to split this up in 2 parts, especially with like book adaptations. Because I know there's a big proponent of people that complain about book to movie is that they leave out a lot.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, so I understand why there's like, this is the finale of the series, we want to break it up into 2 parts, but they don't balance it, which I think is what you were getting at, and that really hurts a lot of the part 1s and makes the part 2s essentially just a giant fight, right? That's what I found a lot in like the 2-parters, is like the part 1 is all the story and the people are talking, we're like, yeah, part 2 is like, now we'll just fight for 2 hours and then you can leave. And it's like, you could have maybe split that up a little bit better.
Yeah.
Also, I hate the gap that's usually in between those 2 movies, because it loses a lot of the momentum of part 1. So like, if a movie's coming out like that, you might as well just not even watch part 1 until part 2's out.
Yeah.
And then watch both as one complete movie.
I could see doing that, but I mean, I don't
have
the budget of a 12-year-old, so I can't afford to go to them day of.
Like, I can't budget my time like that, Wow. Unfortunately, like, school doesn't let out that early for me, man. I don't know about you guys.
Feels bad, dude.
Maybe it's like juice box hour or something at the fucking 12-year-old school, but we gotta be there all day.
I'm on my recess.
God damn. I think one of the biggest problems with sequels, and I think this is for games and movies, and I think this is why maybe you were so disappointed in XCOM, is that when you play the first one and you get to the second one, that waiting period in between gives you time to hype the movie up, right?
Yeah.
Where like you're like, all this epic shit is gonna happen, it's gonna be great. You know, maybe in XCOM 1 you were thinking like, okay, we saved the planet. Now we're gonna take the fight to the aliens, right? And it's gonna be a whole other overarching story. And then you find out that they're doing this interesting thing where, oh well, only 30% of the people completed the campaign, so now we're you guys lost, and now it's a resistance thing. But when the story doesn't end the way you want it, or it ends too soon, as a viewer and a fan, it's almost like you let yourself down. But in a way, like the sequel still let you down because it wasn't as good as the first one, and you had like your hopes were up like really high, and you know it ended up like somewhere in the middle, and you're kind of like, oh, I didn't hate it, but didn't love it the way I wanted to. I think that's like personally why I try and avoid spoilers or trailers and just like shit that like gets me hyped up for movies and video games and anime and shit like that. Because like I know what I'm like mentally, where I'm like, all this cool shit could happen, and then like when only a fraction of it does, I'm not mad, but I'm just kind of disappointed in myself.
Yeah, well, the same's true for like movies based off of books, because you're like, you have this expectation of how the book went, and you're like, it's going to be exactly the same in the movie, and then you get something like the Percy Jackson movies, and you want to cry.
Some 12-year-old shit complaining about Percy Jackson.
I'll complain until I die about that.
Yeah, I was pretty mad about that. But
I actually enjoyed the Percy Jackson movie because I'd never read the books. But
No.
by the
They-
time
Yeah.
the Percy
I feel
Jackson
bad.
movie came out, like that movie did one of those things where they age all the characters. So I watched it and I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. But you have to remember, like, I'm 9 years older than you. So when that movie came out, I was like 22. So to have characters 16, like, all right, you know, I could relate a little bit more to an older teenager as a young adult. And then I find out that the books are about like 12-year-olds, and I'm like, yeah,
Actually 12.
like
Yeah.
actually
Actually
12-year-olds, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, this isn't happening. And then the second one came out, and the characters were like 20, like because they made the movie like so much later that they just, well, fuck it, we got the same actors, and they're like 4 years older, so they're like
Yeah.
20 now. And I was like, all right, you know.
I
Fun
fucking
mending that
hate
with the
when movies
plot.
do that shit. When they're like, I'm in high school, and they have like fucking beards, and they're like, like you can tell they're 27. You're like, all right, man,
Calm down.
we know you're not 27, or,
Yeah.
or you're not 16. No 16-year-old looks like that. I remember what I
Okay,
looked
you
like
say
at
that,
16.
but I had a guy in my class who had a full beard in grade 9.
Dude, you had 12-year-olds that had fucking full beards. What the fuck?
We
That's
thought
ridiculous.
he didn't belong there.
To be
Well,
fair,
yeah, he didn't belong
there's
in
a
fucking
guy.
grade 6. He had a beard.
It was-
What, like,
it was
how did
grade
the rest of
9.
you 12-year-olds not go like,
Grade
damn,
9.
dude?
And we-
There's a guy in my one of my
Awesome.
classes at high school too, who has like he has the beard going.
You know, I'm 30 damn near, and I still just grow like shitty, stringy peach fuzz.
Wisp.
Feels bad, dude.
Well,
I
it's more
can-
like
I-
porcupine. It's fucking sharp and thick-haired as fuck, but then like spaced out, so I can't grow a nice thick beard. And even when it grows long, it just grows straight. I look homeless actually with a beard. I've never been able to groom one to look okay.
I just
You gotta
look
get that-
homeless
you gotta
in
get some
general.
beard
So
oil and just kind of like supplely massage it in there. You know, it's like, ooh, those hairs will soften up real quick. I tell you. Don't worry.
I might like puncture my fingers way too much, even attempting it.
just go down. Just like, you know,
you get some
with the grain,
thimbles.
not against it, with the grain. You know, it's like
There
when you're
is
shaving.
no with or against when it's fucking perpendicular and straight out.
Okay, and come in a 45-degree angle, it'll be fine. Yeah, that's why. Like, I try and avoid shit like that. I know, like, anime especially. I remember I got into Attack on Titan right when it came out. Like, I was watching it almost week to week, and I had to wait 4 years for season 2, and it was not a good season 2. I don't know if you're a fan of Attack on Titan, but it was not a good season 2. It was like Harry Potter Part 1, where there's a lot of like talking and no action, just like a lot of like we have to build up to season 3.
Mhm.
And I hate shit like that because I'm like, oh, I remember season 1 where you guys were all kicking the shit out of Titans, and now you're just talking. And this is boring. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Also, it's also like I know we have to do the whole sub versus dub debate, but like because I want to watch it right away, it's in Japanese, and so I'm doing a fuck ton of reading, and I'm like, oh god damn it. Usually when there's like a fight in an anime and they're fighting, but they're monologuing while they're fighting, I just watch the action because I'm like I know you guys are just screaming platitudes like my friendship is stronger, and then you just like knock a dude out. Like I'm just like
reader.
I'm a very fast reader, actually.
Oh, well, then you should be able to do it, no problem.
Well, I wouldn't expect you to understand reading levels yet because you haven't got there as a 12-year-old, but it gets higher.
No.
Yeah.
Feels
Could
bad.
you not?
Every yeah, I must feel it. Dude, small 12-year-old segue, but I remember when I was 12 and I was trying to buy emulated video games and in games, as we call it in Canada. And the guy wouldn't let me, and I was so fucking mad. And he just looked at me. He's like, "Sucks to be 12, man." And he just did like this little like shrug, and I was like, "Fucking roundhouse kick you!" I was so mad. It's like the most condescending way. He was like, "Sucks to be 12, doesn't it?" Like,
Sucks to suck, dude.
I thought I'd fucking punch
don't.
you in the dick and make you sound 12, you dick. I was so mad.
Ooh. Big
Hey,
oof.
what are your thoughts on sequels? No.
I mean, it depends on the sequel. I don't watch many movies.
Games, whatever.
So
Maybe some
game
good sequels.
sequels are more what I deal with, and I find with a lot of game sequels, it's tough with games to stay both true to the original and innovative at the same time, which are what sequels are expected to do. Because in my mind, it's like if the game's the same and it doesn't excel the plot greatly, why wouldn't I just replay the original game? So when you're dealing with something like that, I think it's, a lot of video game sequels fail to do that, and a lot of them start to feel super similar, like Call of Duty, Mortal Kombat to a certain extent, even Pokemon, even though I love Pokemon. You get these franchises where like sequel after sequel, they're pumping them out on a yearly basis, and it's like, what's the point?
Yeah.
But then again, there are a ton of also sequels where they do. I find sequels excel most at story-driven games. I find for story-driven games, that's where sequels shine the most. Otherwise, they're usually kind of just rehashes of the old game with some new fancy graphics slapped onto them. That's my thoughts on them, at least.
I think actually though the fighting game sequels are okay. I don't like fighting game stories are enjoyable, but they're usually like intentionally kind of campy,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and they're really only kind of meant to it is kind of meant to bring the game back. And many of them do try to do things like innovative or a little bit with the fighting game genre, but I think there's also a certain point where it's like, as much as people slather all over fucking nostalgia won't keep some games like in the other than apparently Smash Brothers fucking Melee. Nostalgia won't keep that shit relevant forever. So you kind of have to come out with like the new version. Although I do hate, which I think I talked about before with the DLC, when you have like the sequel come out and then like key characters are suddenly like, you were playing them before, but now the sequel's out and you're not playing them now, and that drives me nuts. But
I've never played a game. Well, like what kind of games do that shit? I've never played one like that.
just fighting games in general. I can't remember which ones it were.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean.
Like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter were really bad for holding back like iconic characters that have been around for 10, 15 years behind paywalls.
Yes.
As far as Aiden's comments about the Pokemon, I feel like there's a difference, I think, between games that are like it's a sequel, but then it's like an entirely new game that you don't require the past for. So like Pokemon and Final Fantasy and Persona, like I could pick up Final Fantasy X and it's its own standalone game. I don't need to know anything about the Final Fantasy universe. Maybe enough to play the game. And Pokemon, the Pokemon games, there are new areas and everything like that. Like, you don't need to play the previous Pokemons to play the new Pokemon. So I think those are, a little bit different than sequels. Those are like...
Yeah, I that's why I said to a lesser extent Pokemon, because like Pokemon works like on a generation thing where like each generation is different. But then sometimes they also rehash old generations, like with Omega Ruby, Fire Red, and stuff like that.
I'll be honest, that one totally ate into my nostalgia wallet.
Oh
Omega
yeah,
Ruby?
well that one actually had it changed the plot up enough that it was like, oh, this is sick for new players, and then the veteran ones didn't feel like they're just playing the same game, which was really nice. I really enjoyed that.
And generally
of Pokemon definitely hit that mark of like feeling like the original, but then feeling like a new game.
Yeah, and I think Pokemon can do that because they've always used the same core system.
Just make more Pokemon. Easy. Just
easy.
there.
Yeah, it's like
My
fucking
Minecraft's
catch 6
there.
Pokemon, catch more Pokemon, fight those Pokemon with other Pokemon. That's like every Pokemon game. So it's not really all that hard to add more to that. But
Yeah.
but then they all end up feeling sort of the same. Where like fight organization and stuff like that, you know.
Fight X bad guy.
Yeah.
Win the
Team
X
Rocket,
championship.
Team Magma,
Yeah.
Team Aqua,
You just keep Team Blank.
Team
That was a
Blank.
Always
Pretty
a
much.
Well, even now they're bringing back They brought Rocket back, and it's Rainbow
Dude.
Rocket. Like, hold on
Dude.
now. Hold on now.
Kappa Pride, Rainbow Rocket. Let's go.
Well, I can just imagine Giovanni sitting in a boardroom like, we need to make Team Rocket have a presence again.
How
What
do we update Team
And then
Rocket
some
for
grunt was
the
like,
youth?
sir, what if we just had Rainbow in front of the name, and then instead of like a menacing R that's red, like just a rainbow. And he was like, get this man a raise.
Giovanni's like,
Get
We're
this man a
there.
raise. He's in. We got it. And then they just go invade Hawaii. Like, yeah.
seems good.
Seems like a solid plan. I don't know.
Sometimes you gotta
Brilliant.
rebrand, you know?
Yeah. Sometimes you got to rebrand. You know, it's like, big menacing VD2. Now you're an SQA. We're all good now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Look at that way. I think it was. Oh, you go. You go ahead, Brian.
All right. I was just going to mention another thing with sequels, in my mental notes. I fucking hate, and movies do it, TV shows will do it. I mean, even season to season, sometimes they'll do it, and games do it. I hate when a sequel completely, eliminates the victory of the first game.
Oh,
I'm trying to, there's one that happened in Infinity War that I don't want to spoil, so I won't.
I,
But the game where it's it literally opens with the ending cutscene from the first game. You get to town and then it's just been destroyed and shit's worse off than the happily ever after you left it in 2 years ago. I hate that. You're what's the point of the first game then? Witcher, I think, does a great job where he's working, he's in different parts of the world as he's kind of, solving conflicts here and there. And then there's 20 years difference between the two. And you're all right, I can get down for that. Final Fantasy X-2, as much as that went from one of my favorite JRPGs ever to female dress-up game, it the way it did its story, it still kept the continuity of the eternal peace that you had brought in Final Fantasy X-2. And while there was a new threat, it was years later, and in the beginning everything seemed great. Boruto even does that. I think Boruto's pacing is weak because it's going so slow, but it literally ended Naruto on a huge, we have an eternal peace. All the reasons that ninjas exists are gone because the threat is gone that once existed. And
Yeah.
so now
You
it's
can't just immediately go back into
Boruto,
war.
It hurts the pacing of the next story, but it makes sense that everything's so peaceful. And they literally have people complaining about, having ninja abilities and wanting to stir the chaos because everything is too peaceful. And it's I like that they did that, even though I think it hurts the pacing of Boruto.
Yeah. But let's be real, Boruto's gonna have another fucking 900 episodes or something silly like that.
I think about episode 300, I might actually start caring about it. And currently, I'm just powering through it because of my love of Naruto. But
Yeah. Remember when
Alright.
Crunchyroll called it Boruto's dad? Or hang out with Boruto and his dad, and they're like, Naruto did not bring everlasting peace to the ninja kingdom to be called Boruto's fucking dad. All right? That made me laugh.
something you said there really fucking caught me there, Brian. And I think earlier I said the Flint. I fucking hate the new Star Wars movies. Hate them so much.
Star Wars
Oh.
totally did that too. That one was so
Oh.
confusing. I was
It's it goes from Luke being this fucking symbol of oh, holy shit, shit's getting better. And it's hey, guess what? many years later, he tried to kill his nephew, and now he's drinking green milk out of this disgusting monster. Have fun. By the way, your childhood was shit. Get wrecked,
pranked.
idiot. And it's just like, no, why would you do this?
I feel
And
like,
I think
yeah, I totally agree with the Star Wars thing. I actually hate the way they're handling certain world parts and certain things that make no sense. It feels like this movie that's just been made for, like, it's got a fun spectacle to it, but like the continuity and stuff, I'm like it hurts my brain. Like so, you know, throughout the first 6 movies, despite any opinions of the first one, you spend this whole time, you know, setting up Darth Vader as the front villain, but really Palpatine is the ultimate evil. All right? And then you get into, like, you know, movie 7, and Palpatine was like the Grand Emperor, and we had this great victory by, you know, defeating him and freeing people. And, you know, it's galactic peace. And then later on, you're like, well, no, it's not actually galactic peace. I mean, you killed Palpatine, but like his army's still there. They've just rebranded, and the still vast number of soldiers is still holding the world hostage. And you're like, all right, well, I guess fuck it. Nothing mattered from the 6th one. And then too, the thing that got me was like, Snoke was the most worthless fucking character. I mean, I know this isn't quite sequels, but like, he was the most worthless character I've ever seen in a fucking movie. Why does this guy suddenly like there's no hints. Like, I wanted them to go the Dark Plagueis route, right? Where there was like hints and ties to secretly there being even, you know, a greater villain than like Palpatine. I was really waiting for them to do like something with movie 7, because then it could really tie it all together. But you have this place that does like voting people into power. You know, it's a democracy. And then all of a sudden Snoke is leading it, or this like little bitch ass whiny kid is leading like this massive fucking army that's supposed to be like a democracy. And then where did this super all powerful Jedi or Sith that overpowers fucking Palpatine come from? Like, it wasn't long. I mean, if you ever played the Star Wars games, giant, super powerful Siths do come, but not like 20 years later, like 1,000 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah, 20 years later, this guy's here. He's all powerful. So powerful that Luke's given up and living on a fucking island. And then it feels like they're going through and they're killing all the characters. And you got 20 years later, and the sequels are just destroying the point of the first one. And I hate when, like, you know, the first ones are done. You're like, well, now they didn't even matter. And the point of it, like, what was the point of going through that journey for us to just shit on it later?
And that's exactly one of the things. And there's some people have made the argument that, like, they're rebranding Star Wars, they're making it something new, they're changing the direction. But then in the 8th movie, they had this interesting scene where Kylo offers Rey to join him. And, like, this entire movie, they've been pushing this narrative of the Jedi and the Sith need to die.
Sorry if you hadn't included.
Oh shit! Sorry.
Yeah, spoilers.
Dude, it's like over a year old. I feel no shame.
Yeah,
What
there's
is the
kind
threshold
of
for spoilers, because I see people get mad for movies that are like 3 years old.
Like,
well, I was gonna watch
2
that.
weeks, 3 weeks. I would say, like, if you really like super cared about it, you've probably seen it like the first couple weeks. You know?
Yeah. Oh.
I think that shit's on Netflix. So like,
That's
Yeah.
just on Netflix. Like, you can get it in so many forms. If you're like, dude, I was gonna watch that, like, you would have watched it already if you cared.
Anyway, so it pushes this fucking narrative of like, let the old shit die. All right, and that's fine. And in fact, if they had actually let that happen, then maybe there could be an argument made that that's an interesting way to take the story. Where then it balances the force, not through there being two opposite sides, but being one grayish side. But then Rey she doesn't, and so it's frustrating because she goes back on everything that the movie had just established. That it goes back on everything that it said needed to be done, and it doesn't do it, and that's frustrating. From like a narrative standpoint,
That movie had some weak points, to be sure. I enjoyed it for what it was. I'm kind of glad that they didn't do anything with Snoke actually. I thought that was probably a smarter
I
decision in
hated
the
the
long run.
character in general, and when he was dead, I just thought, like, what was the point? Like,
It was literally just a stepping stone for Kylo.
I think me and you actually had a full discussion about this on Facebook back and forth. Now that I think about it, I think I actually
We did.
this
We had a
exact
very
conversation.
long well, because like Kylo is just he in episode 7, like you can tell like he's a super whiny kid, but he is facing conflict between the light and the dark, and he's like, I don't know which side to pick, and he's like begging Darth Vader to give him guidance towards the dark side, which is ironic. If you've seen the 6th movie, you're like, I don't think he's going to help you with that as the Force goes, personally, but all right, keep asking. And, you know, him killing Snoke is him finally coming to terms with who he is. And that needed to happen, because could you imagine if we were in like whiny episode 7, Kylo Ren in episode 9? Can you imagine how boring that would be and how annoying he'd be like the new Jar Jar, I think.
I think I even agree with you that like he served his narrative purpose for developing Kylo Ren. My problem was just where the fuck did he come from? Like, how the fuck did he get like all this power? I mean, they were showing him in training, and the way Luke talked about fucking Snoke, it was like Snoke has been this problem for years. So like at the age that Kylo is like turning his back on the Force and everything is happening, like Snoke is already this big, huge threat.
Yeah.
And I think all I wanted was even a scene or even like an explanation about how like Snoke was actually in waiting or something. Like you could with 10 seconds establish him into the world rather than just coming in 20 years later and he's just part of the world.
Yeah.
You're like,
Instead of saying,
I love when sequels will say, like, I've played games where, like, this guy who was kind of doing a small thing, you know, he's a big threat, but then, like, where they take what almost seems like a plot hole or, like, something being ignored and then turn it into a huge, you know, story point for the second game. You're like, that had some continuity to it. Oh, man, yeah. And it can, like, fix the past mistakes of, like, a plot hole. That's fine. But I hate it even in other video games where you just come and you're like, 15 years later, while we saved the kingdom, a more powerful threat showed up. I mean, it's fucking Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Frieza's destroying fucking planets. You guys have all watched Dragon Ball, right?
Yeah.
I haven't, but I'm not going to.
It's
They're
okay,
too
Aiden.
12. Watch it. It's
At your
it's
age, I
PG-13.
understand. But I'm sure you understand enough Dragon Ball fucking reference. Like, Frieza's out here destroying planets, conquering the galaxy. He comes back to their home planet. What are the fucking odds that the scientist that got beaten by an actual 7-year-old or 8-year-old Goku has somehow now made robots that slap around people that can destroy the planet with a snap of their fingers? Like the power scale. And I think even, like, fucking the creator of Dragon Ball was just like, power levels are stupid. Moving on. And we're like, what? Like,
well, yeah, I mean, eventually, with any kind of shonen anime like that, like, having a scale for a character that you know is just going to keep breaking the scale is like, I can't do that. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't fit the format.
Yeah.
It kind of made sense for, like, when the Saiyans first showed up, but now it's like, okay, we can't.
I feel like
I
it
don't
made
know,
sense
like, someone
right up to the end
calculated
of the
it.
Frieza saga, and then it was just like, what?
Yeah, you can't. Like, once you reach the power to just destroy a planet, it's like, why am I even measuring anymore? Like, you're gonna break all my
What's the
measurement tools
point?
anyway. Why bother? You could do that.
Yeah, there's something similar with Supernatural. Like at the point where like you've defeated Satan, where are you gonna go?
Dude, spoilers.
Dude, you
Oh my God.
defeat Mega Satan. That
Yeah.
suddenly shows up
Actually,
out of
no,
nowhere.
no, you defeat Megatron.
Oof.
I'm sorry, we're just going to Transformers now?
Yeah.
Hold on, what?
I think they're like starting a 14th season. I'm like, I have not seen past season 10.
I haven't
just can't
seen
handle
the
it
newest
anymore.
season. I haven't seen 13 because it wasn't on Netflix yet.
That's definitely one of those shows that falls into the trap of trying to stay too much like the good seasons. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
Yeah.
it's like we just keep doing the same thing for.
I think one of the
You know
worst
what, though?
things.
I am a sucker for Supernatural. Just keep going further and further. And they do somehow keep amping up the threat. And the one thing I love about the way Supernatural does it, like okay, you went from, you know, Satan being a problem to then having like a whole thing where you're dealing with like God's sister, and then you're going like ramping up further and further, and like they do keep like ramping it up. But then I love where, like, and there's part of you that's like, what the fuck? But if they just went back, they at least understand that if they somehow went to a weaker villain than the first villain, and the people are struggling against it, you're just like, this is lame. I've seen so many
Yeah.
sequels do that where I'm like, I'm pretty sure the guy we killed in the first game is stronger than the guy we're fighting in the second. But, you know, this guy in the second is somehow being a problem. Supernatural at least does ramp up, and its power scale is borderline Dragon Ball Z level, where they're literally dealing with God and his sister. But I love the way that in the show, they constantly, like, almost poke fun at it. They'll be like, why? For 12 years, it's just getting worse and worse. Every time we think we've saved the world, it's endangered by a bigger threat. And they literally, like, commentate on that. And so it's like...
And it's always them, too. At what point do you go, there are other hunters out here? Help, maybe? Like...
Well, like season 11 and 12, they were just like...
Yes.
Like, people are just like, oh, it's the Winchester, saving the world for your 7th time now? Like...
Yeah.
Yep.
They're like,
Yeah.
what's the count?
And like
Saving the world.
that's another thing with like sequels, because they have to introduce something to fucking make it so that it makes sense that there's a sequel. And so like usually either they'll revive the big bad or they'll make a new bigger bad, you know? But like at what point is there a bad that's too big? Like
Yeah.
how big of a bad can you get before the bad's too big for the big bad? Like,
Well, see, but that doesn't even matter because if Sam and Dean die, they're just going to come back somehow. It's happened so many times.
yeah, but then you get to this thing where like you're fighting like actual like you said, where do you go beyond Satan? Oh well, God's son's sister, and then like where do you go after that? And then after that, you just have to keep making up
second cousin Bill.
weirder and weirder
This time
shit
it's serious.
to
They
justify.
went, for the first time, they went the Nephilim route, which I'm surprised it took them so long to go Nephilim.
Yeah, with Castiel constantly there, it's like,
Well, I mean, like, you guys know what a Nephilim is, right?
yeah. They actually talked about one earlier than season 13, but they never dropped back into it.
I think I was actually I was doing the total like browsing girly articles on Facebook thing that I sometimes do at work, but Supernatural definitely.
By the way.
falls by the way, I do it all the time. I'm terrible for it.
By the way.
And one of them was Supernatural because I've browsed enough Supernatural stuff that Facebook's always like, Supernatural article? Yes, please. And,
Thanks. Yeah, hey, that's what I'm looking for. That's content I want.
that's content
Thanks,
I
Luke.
want to read. Fuck yeah. And they were talking about that where there was a half... Actually, it's funny with the half-demon thing. So when they got to season 13... I'll leave Supernatural after this, but when they got to season 13, when they did the Nephilim, they did half angel, half human, because they said that a demon is just a corrupted human soul. And so that was kind of the mixture, was the power and the energy that they'd established that souls have with the celestial grace that an angel has fused into one being, and that's what made them so powerful. And in the previous one, they had half demon, half human, which was then later on just being like, no, a demon soul is just a human soul. So they actually, if anything, almost like retconned the past. But I know there was like a kid, right? And they called him a Nephilim because he was half demon, half human, and he had all these powers and he was super strong. And then later on in the season, they
Was
just
that the-
established that a demon is just a corrupted human soul, so it wouldn't actually be a Nephilim. It's weird.
So he's half human, half mean human. That's what he
Oh,
is.
God.
We got him now.
His dad was an
Not a
asshole.
mean human.
Like,
Dad was just a dick. Now he's just half
Dude,
dick.
Dad always cut
half
people off in
nice guy.
traffic and never hold the door open, buddy.
welcome to the
That's
Supernatural
a
podcast.
crime.
Yeah, well, now we're a supernatural podcast. I've seen like season 1. That's what I've seen.
I actually have not
could-
watched a single
You
episode.
know what? They tried to
Because you're
be.
too
They
young,
tried to be a
it's age-gated.
serious.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't.
they tried so
Sorry,
hard to be
14A.
like a serious horror show in the earlier seasons of him.
The first
Like,
5 or 6 seasons, you could tell their script was like, if we could get this far, this will be great. And then when
Yeah.
they got to like the end of season 6, they're like, wait, shit, we're getting re-signed? Replan everything. Like, we need to start from
Tear it
scratch.
down, boys. We gotta build it back up.
So like, it gets campy after season 6 or 5 or whichever it is, like when they're done dealing with Lucifer. But like up to then, it's actually a continuous narrative that makes some sense.
Interesting. Bring it back to sequels real quick. I'm gonna bring it back. What's your guys' favorite sequel? Because what sequel do you think outshone its original? Like that's your favorite. I'm just
Ooh.
curious.
Pokemon Fire Red.
Okay.
I count that as a sequel. Either that or
Hearts
Heart
2.
Gold.
Kingdom. That's an excellent choice.
I don't know if it outshone it or if it was more like on par to it with me. For me though, was Legend of Korra with Last Airbender. I like them both equally.
Now, Legend of Korra sequel does things right. You don't like Avatar there, Flint?
Not Legend of Korra. It's not better than the first one.
I
man.
said it was
Come
on par,
on.
not that it was better.
I like the direction they went with it.
Don't
I
do
like
this
that
to
they
me.
didn't take away from Aang's successes. The nations
Exactly.
are still, together. They've built. Aang is gone because it's seemingly he died from old age. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
anything indicated that he was, like, murdered or anything
No.
like that. Like, Katara is, like, an 80-some-odd-year-old woman, and she was, like,
Yeah.
16 in the other one. Like, they've had 70 good years, and you can still bring in these characters as old people. It's fun seeing Sokka as, like, an old fucking senile man.
Yeah.
And so in that sequel, they don't destroy the original. They do something new where they've got this industrial age. I don't think industrial age is going to build that fast in 70 years, but I don't know. I guess maybe with metal benders, they could build skyscrapers fucking crazy fast.
Yeah.
I mean, you go from like 1920 to 1990. That's a pretty big build.
Now that you
Real.
mention it, I'm
Yeah.
totally wrong. In 70 years, you can get that far.
70 years, you can do a lot of
You
shit.
can
Dude.
do
We had fucking rockets and space stations and stuff. 70 years.
Boom.
Oh, boom.
That is a very, very valid point, Flint. I totally take back everything I said.
That's right. History Channel MysticManatee over here.
So
I can tell you what I'm not waiting for. Honey Pop 2. I know it's coming.
Speaking of
I
which,
don't want it.
you totally skipped it in games this week, Flint. How was your
That's
Pop
right, you
game?
fucker. Oh my god. I'm out here getting roasted. I'm at work. I get my phone buzzes and I look down and it says, haha, MysticManatee. Haha, I caught you. And I don't know how you did it, you son of a bitch. But it's a picture of me and it says MysticManatee playing Honey Pop in Discord. I won't stand for the slander. I haven't played Honey Pop in so long.
Not since you played it last time when that picture came at work, right?
Wrong.
Oof.
Wrong. Blah.
I'm gonna be honest, Flynn. Brian
Oh
has the
my
receipts.
God.
Take down the
it's so-
entire
Not what you
the
can do
entire
about
Honey
it.
Pop Oceanics.
Flint, do you want to know how I got that? Do you actually want to know, or do you want to leave it suspense? Because you said you were going to get to the bottom of this,
Yeah,
and you never got to the bottom of this.
I'd like to know.
He can't get to the bottom of anything, okay? He still thinks I stole his banana, and they're like
Let's not
literally-
talk about fucking
The person who
brother
took it
bananas on
literally
stream, all right?
looked you
Let's
in
hold
the
on here.
eye
Let's
and said,
roll
"Hey,
this one
I
back.
took your
Let's
banana,
roll this back.
but I'll
Let's
replace
roll
it."
this back.
And you're still like,
Brian, how did you do that thing that you were talking about? That's
So
that's
first
really-
off, I
actually
laughed
want-
because you immediately started yelling at your sister, and it had nothing to do with
I'm
Fiona.
immediately gonna blame her. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
you know what? I'm innocent. Stop falsely accusing me of things.
I can't believe you did that to my Discord.
I
defiled it with
neither
Honey Pop.
defiled your Discord nor took your banana.
Disgusting.
So
Absolutely disgusting.
Flint,
Can't believe
it's
it.
almost
Can't
a cop out, and it totally kills the mood. But a whammy photoshopped it and sent it to me.
Oh, I saw the pixels and I was like, did he? Brian doesn't use Photoshop. He couldn't. Someone did it.
I
Who
mean,
did it?
He did a very
Which one of you
pixelized
whammies?
Photoshop job, but it was just Photoshop. And I laughed because like you went on there, you're like, you couldn't hold on to this for weeks, and I'm like, I didn't hold on to it for 10 minutes. He sent it to me, and I was like, I'm gonna use this during the recording.
That's what
I'm
I
gonna
thought.
get it, Flint. And then like 5 minutes later, I'm like, no, I'm posting this shit on Twitter.
That's what I thought. That's what I was like. There's no way he's been holding on to this golden snitch of an image for like fucking 5-6 weeks. He would have tweeted that out. He would have like,
I
that's
think
it.
I
Yes,
had
it is.
resolve and strength for about 6 minutes, and then I couldn't wait anymore.
I don't know which one of you whammies did it, but you're on the list.
and it clearly wasn't me.
And
Yeah, it had nothing to do
MysticManatee.
with Fiona. And Flint's in here. Get the fuck away from my computer. You're banned from ever being near it. It's like, Fiona is totally innocent in this.
I got her. I
You
know.
see what I deal with every day.
I know she was involved. I
Every day
know
of my
she was
life.
involved somehow.
I come
It's a
downstairs and he goes,
conspiracy.
"Thanks for
I
drinking all
know.
the milk," or it's, "You took my banana."
I know it was. I bet she was. I bet she
You
was
have the
fucking Kyle.
receipts,
I
Blake?
bet she was Kyle. Kyle and Fiona working in tandem.
I
Like
don't
Bonnie
talk
and
to Kyle
Clyde.
that often.
Mystic and
so-
Kyle. That's how it was.
It was Kyle.
Dangerous
I know.
combination.
That's a
It was
dangerous
Kyle.
one. Yeah, but I'm not waiting for Honey Pop 2. Gonna be real. I know it's coming out. I don't want anything to do with it.
Flint, are you sure you don't want to play some Honey Pop 2 with Bryce?
I'll listen. Someone wants to donate to like some secret Patreon tier we put up, and it's like Honey Pop stream with Flint and Bryce. Like I'll do it then, but other than that, never touching it. Never gonna touch it.
Cool.
I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna be like, no. My Steam queue is just getting back to normal. It's finally recovering from the fucking depths it was in. Now it's like normal again. I'm clean.
You know what to do.
I'm fine. I ate that bread. I did it.
On
Oh,
all
really?
video
You ate
games.
the bread?
Yes, I know. I have to go buy more bread. Oh.
It's her special bread, and you ate her bread.
All right.
Who's the thief now?
I defended you.
No,
Why does everyone blame me? That's my next question.
Because you're a shit. You're a shit.
She's the Bart of the family.
Anyway,
I am.
she's the part of the family. Anyway,
It's upsetting.
it was moldy. Anyway,
You did play the sax. So
yeah, fucking right.
Huh.
Anyway, I think my favorite sequel. I'm gonna go to movies. You guys went to video games. Probably gonna be Terminator 2 or Aliens. I think both those movies greatly outshone the original, and I think James Cameron did a fantastic job on those. Really sad I didn't like Avatar, but he did a fantastic job on both of those movies.
Wait, you weren't one of the hippies going out there saying you wanted to live on this green fucking planet?
Oh fuck no! It was horrible. Everything, it was like Australia inside a whole globe. Why do you want to live there? People were like sticking their like this tail is or whatever the fuck their organ was that like they stick into shit and they're like, this is how we get intimate, and then they stick it into like a fucking rhino or a dragonfly or some shit. I'm like, get that out of there!
What's going on here?
You said that was for sex and you're sticking it in animals. What's wrong with you people? I was
beyond
with the guy. I was like, I'm gonna napalm it. I'll do that. Ew, they're just sticking shit where. Oh God. Oh, like unconsensual sticking in like dragons and shit. Oh man, I don't fuck the Avatar. Fucking James Cameron had the gall to be like, people need to stop watching Marvel movies. I'm glad I'll be tired of it. Meanwhile, this motherfucker's got like Avatar 7 planned out. He's got the whole movie map planned out on IMDb. I'm like, you ain't slick, James Cameron.
Yo, you have to wonder if that weird shit's in the first movie. How weird do you think it'll get by the seventh one?
It's probably gonna be like 7D. I'm gonna be able to smell and taste the movie. I'm just fucking puking in my popcorn bag.
you're gonna feel them stick that organ.
Yeah, it's gonna be like stimulations.
Ew.
Dude, they're gonna come out with a real life one.
Yeah, they're just gonna like every time an animal's on
VR.
screen, they're just gonna heat manure into the theater. It's like, experience it, just like James Cameron wanted you to. No.
Just as the movie was meant to be experienced.
Yeah. No, that movie, like, I couldn't believe it. People were like, I want to live on that planet. Like, first of all, you can't even breathe the air. Idiot.
Can't even do that. Step one.
Can't
and
even
you
do
fail.
that. And then you're going to have some weird clone body that, like, makes you an invalid, basically, if you live in it too long. Like, I don't know what you're thinking.
Good for people with not working leggies, but
Yeah. Well,
Pretty much everyone else.
I have the use of my legs, and I will not be going to the hell planet that they went to. Thank you very much.
It's probably a good call.
Look, I thought the movie wasn't intended to be taken seriously as soon as they called the ore unobtainium.
Yeah, I forgot about that, but now I'm even angrier. Thanks, Brian. I'm even angrier at that movie.
I've got to be
man.
honest. That's one trope I absolutely love. When movies are like, I don't know, any franchise calls like some stupid rare ore that's always lighter yet stronger than aluminum. That's always the base that they use. When they call it something like that, like unobtainium or rarium, I've seen that one.
Yeah, that always
Stuff like that
pisses
is
me
just
off.
hilarious.
Yes.
And speaking of
No?
movies, sequels that haven't come out yet, you guys getting pumped for Shrek 5?
Shrek 5. Oh, no.
Shrek 5? Can you believe
Did you
there's
say
made
no?
5 Shreks?
Yeah, you know what?
the
When you've
fuck?
lived
I wouldn't be a
20
12-year-old
years
podcast
under the
without-
name Fiona, you kind of get sick of Shrek real fucking
Wow,
quick,
dox
buddy.
yourself, dude. Wow.
Let me relay to you a work experience I've had. I was in the basement showing a guy where to put the cakes we needed for the week. And,
As you do.
he shakes my hand and goes, "Oh, what's your name?" And I go, "Fiona." Now, he pauses for a split second, and I can just see it in his eyes. I'm like, I know exactly what's about to put it back. And he goes, "Like Shrek, right?" And I was like, "That's the one, buddy."
Yeah, that movie. That's an indie film by Mike
I am
Myers.
older than Shrek. I have seniority.
I don't
okay?
think so.
Yeah, I do. I went to see it in theaters.
I don't know. If I go
With
back
Dad.
12 years, I think Shrek came out before that.
Here, I'll do some wicked quick googling. One sec.
Yeah, if you got to Google the date when Shrek released, you're 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, speaking about sequels that aren't out yet, I'm intrigued about one, but I don't know how to feel about it because I don't like when a movie that was supposed to be standalone gets like super popular and they're like, "Oh, well, we have to make a sequel now because it was so successful." That doesn't really go well for me most of the time, but I watched what I would consider one of the best zombie movies I've seen called Train to Busan. And I heard they were making another sequel that's coming out.
Train back to Busan.
Yeah, Train Back to Busan. No, but it's supposed to come out this year, but
The
they're still
return
keeping
ticket.
And I guess I'm gonna have to say spoilers, but I don't know if any of you are actually gonna watch this.
I've never
In
even
case
heard
any
of
of you-
it.
No, well,
We're
it's
gonna
a
watch some
Korean movie,
Korean
so
zombie
I had a
movies.
feeling-
Spoilers in the chat.
yeah.
I had a feeling.
They want to bring back the main actor who in the movie turned into a zombie and like threw himself off of a train car. So I'm really not sure what's going on.
Well, he's gonna obviously in the quest
No,
for
but it's
love.
gonna
He's
be
gonna go
about
after
him.
his daughter. Oh,
And then
I don't
I
care
think
about
there's
him.
something about a
He's a
cure.
dick.
So I'm like, really, I don't like when standalone movies are like suddenly they're like, we're gonna have a sequel because you like the first one so much. I'm like, no, leave it alone. That's why I liked it. Leave it alone.
yeah.
Train to
So-
Busan 2. Plane to Busan.
The return ticket.
Also, side note,
Back to
Shrek
school.
is actually older than me. Feels bad.
Get wrecked, son.
Get 12.
Came out April 22nd, 2001. I was born November 2nd, 2002.
I was 3 years old then.
I don't think so.
Yep. Do
No,
your
you were-
math.
no,
I was
you were-
born in
you were born in-
98.
12. You're 12. So
Wrong.
You would have been born in 2006, so
Fake news. Shut down.
both of you
Cancelled.
are in fact younger than Shrek.
False.
I was
Big
in
oof.
middle school when Shrek came out.
Oh, so you probably weren't picked up on that craze at all. You were probably just like, yeah, okay, cool.
To be
ogre
honest,
movie.
I'd never seen commercials for it because I think it was a little too adult for YTV. And all the kids at school were like quoting Shrek and being like
Oh,
it was a
really?
huge
Oh, shit.
thing. Oh fuck. There was people there that would like sit there in class and see how far they could recite line for line of the movie when it came out. I was
Damn.
fuck, I remember being, I think I was like
Dedicated
grade
Shrek
7,
fan.
I think, when it came out. So I was like actually 12 or 13 when it came out. And I was like, what are you quoting? And like I was laughing because the lines were funny and the first Shrek was pretty original. And then everybody talked about it so much at school. I think my parents rented it when it finally came out on VHS. VHS.
Yeah. Oh, I remember
That's an
VHS.
upsetting
Don't worry.
sentence.
Dude, I love VHS.
Yeah.
I had a fucking Donkey Kong movie on VHS. That shit was yellow
But
like a banana.
It was
I
never
loved
good
it.
if the person who watched it last did not rewind the tape after. Because you go to watch it and you're sitting there and you're like, wait.
You have to wait like 3 minutes
Didn't,
max.
like
Yeah.
every
That.
single movie store have the slogan, please be kind and rewind.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember Blockbuster. I used to rent Game Boy games from fucking Blockbuster. That shit was lit. I'm sad.
No.
Dude,
See,
I-
I'm mad now.
Blockbuster night, man. Like when your mom, like you had like a sleepover, and you're like, "I'm bringing my friend Shane over." Yeah, all right.
Yo,
let's-
Shane's
Mom,
gonna be
can
radical,
we go to
dude.
Blockbuster? Can we go to Blockbuster, Mom? And then like you get in the car and yeah, like you're just so pumped. You're so pumped, full of adrenaline, and then you get there and you're like, "Oh, that guy. Oh no, it's rented out. Oh no, shit, that one's rented out too. Okay, well, out of the ones that aren't rented out, I guess we'll play this." But let's get
Yeah, when
potato
you-
chips. Like.
I liked like the first movie always had like the box art for the like the film, and then you pull it back and there was just like these like generic fucking DVDs or VHSs like lying back, and the new releases were always gone, even though they were like way more expensive to rent. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What are you guys doing?
Actually, I used to watch VHS tapes of Pokemon and Star Wars, the original Star Wars, and I think the prequels were on VHS too.
Well, I mean, yeah, when they came out. Maybe not like the third prequel, but I think the first prequel was still on VHS.
Yeah.
Or there was
First
like a
one was
transition
definitely
period
on.
where they had like VHS and DVD, kind of like
Yeah, 'cause I was
now
about to
we're in
say,
the
I think
transition
for-
of DVD and Blu-ray.
Yeah.
I think for Christmas one year we got like a box set of VHSs that had all the Star Wars in it, even the third one.
It's interesting that
You buy the
that
box
Blu-ray
set,
took
it's
off.
like a foot and a half long, but now you buy the box set and it's just like this thick, and it's just
Like
got
that, yeah.
folding like whatever flaps for all the DVDs. Pretty soon, I mean, I remember being like a kid and thinking, what are they gonna do after DVDs? And like my brilliant brain thought they were gonna just sell like a USB stick with like the movie on it, or just like a. And then
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
oh no, okay, the internet's like a thing. So at what point do they now
Just
just
stream
like
it, yeah.
stop selling DVDs? I mean, they're almost there, right? We're like, how many people are still buying DVDs compared to other shit?
I actually,
We
Take a,
have
take
yeah,
a look at the wall
my-
behind
like
us.
either side of my head is just wall of
Well,
DVDs.
no, I meant like in general. I think some of the companies might even just stop paying for it. Like if you think about it, if you sell a DVD for $20, but it costs you like $15 to get that shit on the shelf, or you sell it to Walmart for 10 and then Walmart sells it for 20, or you could just sell it online for 15 and have none of that packaging costs. Like and what is it they say?
I think
the
there's
PlayStation and
still-
Xbox, the next ones are going like completely disc free. The next generations, I think they've announced that they're just going 100% digital.
yeah, I actually can't remember the last time we bought like a disc for a movie. I think it was actually when we first got, and we didn't even buy it. When we first got a PS3, it was gifted to us, and like it was the big bulky one, and it came with a copy of Spider-Man 3. We watched shit out of that Spider-Man 3, but let me tell you that I think that was actually the last DVD that we purchased.
I think there's still a market for DVDs, honestly. Well, like or more Blu-ray, because
Dying market.
it's the same reason like people buy CDs and vinyl, right? Like some people want that physical copy, or they're just like
Or
trying
We're
to
not
be
hipster
eclectic
enough
or
for that
whatever.
shit. Like,
Well, like no, like in general practice, if I can stream it, I'll probably watch it faster. But like some movies, I want to own a physical copy,
Yeah,
just because I
collect.
maybe I'm part of the like the last generation that gives a fuck about that. But it's the same. Like I like having a tangible thing, It's nice
No.
to like have it.
Shut
I'm
her
all-
down.
I'm all-
no.
Like-
No, I like
I'm all
it.
for
I like it
practicality over
personally. God damn,
sentimentality
dude.
in that region.
All digital, please, now.
No, I will say,
disagree. What
the one
happens when the
thing-
server goes down? Oh, I want to watch a movie. Oh, I can't do that. Unless
What
you gotta
happens
save
when the
movie and watch
DVD
it.
is scratched?
It depends what server is down. Is the primary host down? I'll pirate it. Is my internet down? Then I'm just fucked in general. I mean, hook it back to the IV, please.
Yeah, put me to sleep. All right.
I'm
Read a
out of
book.
here.
All right. I think there's one last thing I want to say before we switch off to the community challenge for this week. And Aiden talked about Spider-Man 3. And can I just say, who the fuck thought it was a good idea to cast Eric Foreman as the hulking monstrosity that is supposed to be Venom? Like,
I
at least
forgot
this
he was
time-
Venom until I watched clips from that movie, and I was like, "What the fuck? Like,
I'm having,
why is
like,
he
a hard
here?"
time with memory right now. Who's the guy they cast for the new Venom movie?
Tom
Bane.
Hardy.
Tom Hardy. Like Tom Hardy. Now there's a casting for fucking Venom. Who the fuck? Eric fucking Foreman. What?
Hello. I like that whole like when he's evil, like when he's full Venom, and Venom's like leaning over him all menacing. I'm like, damn, they actually did a good job with the CGI back then. And then the face peels back, and it's fucking Eric Foreman. He's like, and I just picture him saying like, "Fred's gonna kick my ass if I'm not home by 8." Like, no, you're not threatening at all.
Anyway, that
This
was my
is
last
horrible.
like
Yeah.
even as a kid, like I was what, like 18 when that movie came out? No, I was still in high school when that movie came out. I was maybe 16. And I was all I can remember thinking, like, Eric Foreman? Because, like, he was only, like, a year or two off of fucking That 70s Show when that shit came out.
Yeah.
Like, he
Yeah,
quit,
just
said, I'm going to be an actor doing something else, did that one movie, and everybody went,
Are you sure?
are you sure?
Are
Are
you
you
sure about
Maybe
that?
Carnage?
He should have done some rom-coms before he stepped into like or some like horror movies. That's what most
Or rom-com
young, like,
horror movies. That's
what,
a genre
like a
that's
lot
not
of big
tapped
actors do is they do a bunch of shitty B like slasher flicks. to get their like bad, like even if you're a good actor, just get that
The bad image,
the sitcom off you, I guess is the best way to put it. You make that transition, but like to go straight to Venom, that's so jarring as a viewer, especially like I'm rewatching, like we're watching that 70 show right now, and it's like, why are you here? And he has like the frosted tips too. I'm like, none of this is threatening. This is just making me hate the early 2000s.
I'm just getting angry. Let's move on to the community challenge.
Just getting angry. All right, let's go.
All right.
Fucking frosted tips, Eric Foreman.
I'll get Fiona and Aiden to read some of the community challenge too. We'll try to divide it up. I'm going to try to get it up on my phone, which is down to 10% because I sat on it the whole time I was on the plane.
Oh, that's a lot of words.
Oh, I know. I chose a topic that I knew there'd be a lot of writing.
Just for me.
Why? Because you hate us, or
Flint? Why don't you read the first one or two? Aiden can read the second one or two, and then Fiona can read like I don't know the last 2 or 3. I can't remember. I think it was only 6 or 7 this week. But this week's community challenge, it was something that's always kind of interested me, and I'll definitely get to my side. And I knew we had a bit of an age range. In my mind, I'll say what the community challenge was first before I talk about my thoughts behind it. But this week's community challenge was how does like the rest of the world, like the people in your life, your family, your coworkers, everybody kind of around you, treat your gaming hobby? Do they treat it well? Do they join you in it? Or are you kind of like the one guy that's playing gaming? Just kind of how is it viewed in your life? Because I was thinking about this even before we started the podcast about how it's changed for me, and I'll talk about mine in that sense in a bit. Yeah. I'll read some whammy ones or Flynn will read some whammy ones to get us started. But part of me was also kind of curious when I put out this challenge. I should have told people to say their age, but I forgot to. So we'll just infer, I guess. Everybody's young. And
you must be 12.
Because he's like the only old person I think that might have submitted. And but I was kind of curious about the age range, how it's changed. As I'm almost 30, dude. So I'm like 2.5 months from it. It's all over. But curious about. I know for my age at like 30, the way it was kind of viewed. And then I'm curious about even some of the younger guys closer to 20 because I'm a little bit curious as to kind of the age spread and how people are kind of viewing it nowadays in the working world and everywhere. But Flint, why don't you start us off with a couple of whammy?
Absolutely. Let's start out with Zaylato. So I know he's in the chat listening right now.
Zaylato is my age. Pretty fucking close from my conversations with him.
Perfect. He's 31. He even put his age in there. I know you were worried people weren't going to do that. Zaylado's followed the community challenge to a T. Bless up.
I never told the people to put their age. It was something I forgot in retrospect. So Zaylados, you're reading my mind. Good man.
Yeah, he knew it. He was like, twinsies.
Like, this man wants my age.
Let's get it. He says, at a younger age. People thought it was obnoxious because it was all I would talk about. It wasn't considered cool until I was older. I'm a former Twitch streamer with over 60,000 views. Well, congrats, man. What the fuck? Showed them results they didn't understand. Called it a waste of time. Even when working in esports, it wasn't truly accepted by my family until I started getting paid and traveling around the US. Now they don't question me if I'm talking about esports, online gaming, or cryptocurrency. Now my friends and family are excited to ask me questions about gaming or events. I really enjoy going from the guy who nobody understood to the local source for gaming information. That's awesome that you lived through that transition of people like games are a waste of time to now like, oh shit, esports, you can like fucking make bank off that, and Twitch streaming is getting big. That's sick.
Yeah, it's cool AF.
Got it live. You got it live. Live here. You got the live reaction.
Yeah, Zaylatos is in the live recording. He's one of like 2 people I think that there's 5 people watching, and I think 3 of those are us in the recording.
Yeah, one's Kyle and one's Josh. That's fine. We don't promote it nearly as much as
when we kind of get going. Like I haven't been home, but anyway, moving forward.
Yeah, sick stuff, man. I wish I was around for most of that transition. I kind of got the tail end of it. So cool. All right, Paw Badger, or Paw Badger. Maybe there's like a Paw Badger and a Ma Badger. It's like a manatee thing. Said I had an Atari 2600 as a child. And I bought a PS1 and PS2, but I didn't really identify as it. Oh, hold on here. This is from last week's community challenge. It's a little late. All right. But he felt like I bought a Atari 2600 and PS1, PS2. I'll allow it since I read like 93% of it. Jordan, yeah, says, I never really got judged, as everyone I knew, including my parents, played video games. I had people in junior high who made fun of me for being a gamer, but I ignored them and they ignored me. So playing games really never had a negative effect on me. Good shit, man. Good shit. That makes you pretty lucky guy.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
that's sick.
666. Kurt Dude says, my parents waste of time for me to play games. They thought I was sucking whatever intelligence I had out of my brain. God damn. Once I was older and not going out gangbanging, doing the weed cushes, as the young people say, drinking, pretty much anything else, then they learned to cope with it. After I got my own computer and started helping others out and getting into IT, they kind of just shut up about it. I still get smacked around upside the head whenever I'm playing and I don't go get my food. I hardly ever go out because I'd rather spend time with my online friends and just hear and play some games with them. Can relate.
Hell yeah, dude.
Can relate.
I mean,
Flint, what about you?
Kind of 50-50. So my dad has always been super supportive of like playing games and things like that. He was like really chill about it. My mom was the stereotypical, can you pause that while I'm playing online games? All the time. Hey, dinner's ready. Just pause your game. It's like, Mom, I can't.
Physically unable to, thanks.
Thank you. Still doesn't get that to this day, I might add, because I think I went on vacation. I was playing Smite once, and she was like, just pause it and come upstairs. Like, mother, hold the fuck up. Definitely, that side of my family was a big proponent of going outside and, like, play with sticks instead of, getting on the sticks. But my dad was super into it. I have my friends are all gamers, so like they know the drill. They're not giving me shit for it. That's I don't know about your experience, fool, since you're sitting next to me.
Well, it was similar because I'm pretty sure you're the one who sort of got me into games anyway, because you're always in my life constantly.
Yeah, get fucked, idiot.
Oof.
But what's weird is like even growing up, like I'm not sure I talked about it much, but if I did, none of my friends like bothered me about it. And then as we grew up, we all sort of like formed into gamers together. And now even when I like randomly decide to make friends with someone in my classes, like in culinary school, we just start talking and they just all happen to be gamers. So it's like really bizarre. I'm like starting to wonder if I just like attract gamers in a certain way. Like,
dude,
I don't even have to try. They're just automatically, all my friends are gamers.
Good shit.
It just happens.
It
A
just
little bit
happens.
jealous.
A little
You
bit.
should just come to culinary school, my guy.
I went through 6 years of engineering school. I'm done with education. Thank you.
This is not education. This is a free meal.
Oh, that's a
Sounds
good
like
point.
A really expensive free meal, university.
Well, I mean, we had stuff like beef tongue tacos and like duck.
Yeah, miss me with that shit.
It was good.
Miss me with the
beef tongue
Good.
taco. No, thank you.
I'm not Frenching a cow
I
to have a
cleaned
fucking
the
fiesta in my
entire
mouth.
tongue.
Right?
I saw it in its
Yeah,
tongue
right. You
form.
described it as Frenching a cow. It was over.
No, it's super good if you cook it right.
Listen, I have an adventurous tongue. That sounds wrong.
But
This
not
is-
an
just
adventurous
stop.
beef stew.
Just
Hold
stop.
on. Hold on. Never mind. Moving on. Oh, this
This
idiot wrote it again.
Went so bad,
God.
so quick.
God damn it.
Big oof.
God
that,
damn it. Why?
See, thank
Silent
you.
reveries.
Is
Man,
that
I
where-
thought I messaged this guy to stop writing it. He fucking keeps doing it. Says, I'm still a closet gamer IRL for the most part. I don't hide it, but I don't really talk about it. I've been married for 4 years now, and it still feels weird when my wife asks me how the podcast went, how my games went, raids, etc. I always half explain it at first and eventually go into detail once I realize she's actually interested. My initial reaction is, you don't give a shit about how my games went. Stop fucking with me. I heard that in Bryce's voice.
I did too. I
That
hear
was
everything that he
actually
says in
surreal.
Bryce's voice. I don't give a shit about or you don't give a shit
Fucking
about my
game.
games?
Stop it.
The
Other
way
than
he
that-
slurs the words together.
Yeah. Other than that, when my wife mentions my gaming to my brother, he pretends he's talking into a walkie-talkie and mockingly yells, "Red team, go, go, go!" He fucking laughs every time too, like it's the first time he said it. Oh, that's funny.
Dude, that's
Oh.
I gotta say, Bryce, my wife is like the exact opposite. She'll ask how the podcast went and want me to tell her all the highlights that don't involve too many details about video games. And then if I'm talking about a video game, I just ask her to at least pretend to care so that I can finish telling the story. It makes me feel good. And she'll just nod and, okay. And then after about 10 minutes or so, she'll be like, can we stop and change the subject?
Yeah. Okay, I've been interested for 10 minutes now. Let's hold on.
So is that where I should pick up? Or
Sure. You were
Sure,
Fiona.
fire off, buddy.
So Danny Boy 22 says, in the beginning, being single and having my own place was awesome. No judgment on me raging or going late night hours into raids. Now my wife doesn't have a problem with it unless I'm being too loud and waking the baby up. That's pretty rip. When you're old, I actually got her into Minecraft, a bunch of other games. My parents and in-laws never liked it, but understood it was a way for me to relax and unwind after work. After working 2 jobs. At work, people know me as the gamer, not to mention I got half my coworkers into games like Smite and Fortnite. So basically, early on, it was a carefree thing, no time restrictions. Now it's a planned effort to get a single game in sometimes, but judgment-free, so it's a give and take, but I will always be a gamer. Fair enough.
You got your coworkers into gaming? I mean, were they like gamers before and they just picked up a new game? Or did they decide to pick up a game for the first time ever? Because tell me your secrets.
Teach me your ways, please.
He wants that tea.
The secret is you start with the NHL games, Brian, and you ease them in that way.
Oh, that's real clever.
That's the secret.
I could put up with hockey enough to play a video game of it.
Hell yeah.
Maybe I'd actually learn the stats and character names, and they'll be talking about a player, and I'm like, oh, he's got like a 93 rating. No, I can't do it.
He's got a 93 in speed. And they're like, yeah, okay.
He's a zoomy boy.
Skates pretty fast. Yeah, I don't know where you're getting that number from, but I get real confused. All right.
I don't know how to pronounce that name. You think it's Nescatino or Nescatino?
Nescatino.
Okay.
Let's pronounce the C like a hard K. Nescatino.
All right, Nescatino it is. I would say I have what Brian called the blessed gamer life. A lot of my high school buddies are into gaming and sports the way I am. I used to play Halo with my dad all the time as well. We used to split screen in the final mission of Halo 3. Where you had to race to the ship in the Warthogs. I'm sorry, I never played Halo. And we would see who could get there first.
I'm sorry, what the fuck did you just say?
I never played Halo. Get out of here.
I was about to jokingly turn off his camera on the video recording.
That's it. Aiden kicked off the podcast. 212.
Dude, oh man, I'm not even like barely halfway
Halo's
through.
the game. You gotta play it.
To be fair,
You gotta earn your stripes.
if he was to play Halo, then his parents were letting him play a game that was far too old for him when it came out.
I mean,
I
played Call of Duty, so I have no redeeming features. I'm sorry.
First and last appearance. That's correct.
Ouch.
Oh my
I
god.
fucking lose my spot.
Oh.
We had to race to the Warthogs, and we could see who could get there first. My cousins and I used to game at my grandma's house in the summers. And even me and my ex-girlfriend beat the whole Halo Master Chief collection. I almost just said Master Chef collection together during our time together. My mom doesn't have any problems with it. My roommates in college are all into Fortnite now, like I am. We all gather around and watch when someone gets into the top 10 and cheer them on. If they get the victory royale. Sorry this is so long. Maybe it would be shorter if my Smite queue wasn't taking 6 minutes and counting to pop. GG, Lores. Great game, Lores.
He snuck it in there. God damn.
Dude, why do you have to do Lores dirty like that? Come on. Shaking my head.
I mean, I would call it the blessed gamer life. People in your fucking world actually play video games. You don't just find all your friends on the internet. Single tear down the cheek.
Hey,
Aiden,
man.
how about you? How do all the 12-year-olds treat gaming? Is it like the hip hop?
Funny enough, I don't actually have any friends, so I have no one to judge me. It's like
second cheer down the other cheek.
pretty much. It's like so starting out my brother and I used to play a lot of like my older brother, because my younger brother is actually funny enough turning 12 this year. My older brother's 17, and so we used to play a lot of PlayStation together, like just basically any PlayStation game, but usually it was Call of Duty, and so I never really got into playing games with other people. Like I never really had anyone. I never had that, you know, sort of culture where you go over
Picking your
to
nose
someone's
on
house.
live recording, dude. Come on.
No, I itched my nose.
I'm sure.
Picking your nose and not playing Halo. The
Wow,
fuck out of
dude.
here!
Getting fucking. It's literally.
God damn
Wait,
it!
It's like this, but up.
It's
What is
supposed to
this?
be in this podcast.
Taking off the glasses.
Oh my
I'm pretty
god.
sure I've done it, but I just
Can't.
It's not like I'm fucking shut. I'm going like this. What is this? I'm right in the middle of my heartfelt story.
How have you not played Bungie's greatest achievement? The best game.
It's literally just
They've ever
Space Call of
made.
Duty. It's Space Call of Duty. What do you want from me?
Flint just disconnected his video.
Feels bad, man. I broke him. Anyway, I never had that fucking culture where like you go to other people's houses to play games and then they come to your house to play games. So I'd only fucking play games with my brother, and so it was basically just me and my brother, and so I had that's the only person. And now he doesn't play games as much as I do anymore. But like no one's ever been like, "Wow, you play games? What fucking are you, nerd?" No, that's never really happened. Really, the only fucking people who's ever been like, "You play too many video games" is myself. When I realized that I've been up for 24 hours playing video games. Pretty much
To be
it.
12 again, man. To be 12 again.
Wow.
It's
Space Call of Duty.
space. What do you want from me, man?
Indeed.
It's
Space
literally
Call of Duty.
it's literally just Space Call of Duty. You could say that Call of Duty is just Earth Halo. Does that
Just
fix it for you?
Stop before the whammies never let you on the show.
I actually want to cry. I'm like, oh my god, tears. No.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I gotta
Drink your
keep this
drink.
handy, dude. But
Space Call of Duty.
real laughter hiding fake pain. All right.
All right.
I said
read
that
the
wrong,
last two,
but-
and then I'll. Actually, do you want to read one, Fiona?
I'll read Matt's.
Read Mad
Oh.
Matt's.
Madman Matt.
Yo, who the fuck is that guy?
Oh, you got it ripped, ready to rip.
I got it ready to rip. So Matt comes in and says, "Before I moved to the mainland, I worked as a lifeguard, and let me tell you, all of us were into gaming. I remember having Pokemon tournaments on our breaks. Was the bomb. Of course, when I got a job in trades, most people I work with are older. They talk about sports, cars, and sports cars. Now, lucky for me, I can adapt these to conversations pretty well. But some days it would be nice to talk about some game coming out or how much sleep you didn't get because some raid on the MMO. And as for this podcast, only
Yulia.
Yulia, okay, and a few friends know about it."
Wait, the way he spelt it, is it? He spelt it. Did he spell his girlfriend's name wrong, or is it just
It's-
pronounced weird? Because he wrote
it's-
it Yuila, but it's pronounced
Yeah,
Yulia.
well, and yeah,
Like I might be pronouncing
Well,
it wrong.
like,
I'm pretty
I know-
sure it's
I know
No,
Yulia.
I'm
someone
pretty
with the
it's
name-
Yulia.
I was confused because I know someone with the name Jamie, but she spells it with a Y in the front. So I had this moment. I'm like,
I bet she plays Space Call of Duty.
yeah.
Fucking camp. I'm so mad. Making a video out of that later, Aiden. I'm fucking heated.
It's Space Call.
You're wrong. I don't even want to hear your reasoning. I want nothing to do with it. Miss me. Miss me like you probably miss every fucking plasma grenade you've ever thrown. Oh wait, it's none! Because you fucking play Halo.
I'm scared. for
Aiden,
my
have you at
face.
least watched Red versus Blue?
No, if I haven't played Halo, why would I have watched that? See, look at the Space Call of Duty I posted in chat. It's literally Space Call of Duty.
It's on me now.
I
Get out of my
I
seat.
thought about throwing
Get
my
out.
headphones and
Get
leaving,
out of my
but-
seat.
I'm not getting out of your seat.
Out.
Ow!
He was bad, dude.
All right. Let's move past the hate and anger, and I'll read
Rein it in here.
the last community submission for this week. This one comes from Feder to a Corpse. He says, when I was growing up, grade school, my parents always encouraged me to play video games as part of my daily routine. Go to school, come home, do homework, play video games, play outside, eat dinner, watch The Simpsons, go to bed. As I got into my teen years, my mom was a huge supporter of my competitive gaming, driving me to tournaments and purchasing plane tickets. When I met my girlfriend, she thought it was rad. What, your girlfriend thought it was rad? Okay, fuck.
Brian's like, he's high.
Many tears,
I can't
tears
fucking
coming down
believe
cheeks.
this charcuterie.
When
Also-
my girlfriend thought, when I met my girlfriend, she thought it was rad I gamed and liked that I played games she also enjoyed. After I got into Smite, I'll tell you what, she changed her tone. She hates Smite, and she hates that I play it so often. I have no idea why she hates it so much, but she does. So I try to limit my playtime now. Bums me out.
It's not. Well, one, Flint, check the chat. Two, it's not all.
I already looked, and I'm like to announce my retirement.
It's okay.
That
It won't come
story,
on again.
Feder-
You don't have to retire.
That's true.
Also, what
Feder,
competitive
that
game
story
did you
went
play? Let us know.
Great man. Yeah, feels great, man. To feel.
Yeah.
Go for it, Brian. That's all I had to say.
All right. So, I mean, I think people could tell by some of my reactions. Most people in my life seem to be treating gaming like I'm some kind of alcoholic. And like, I
Shit.
don't understand it. So, like, when I was a kid, when I was young, like preteen, younger than Aiden, it was fine, right? School kids played it. Anybody played it. You could talk about gaming. It was cool. But at the time, too, the Super Nintendo was actually, like, the newest console. I remember like N64 being announced, and like the one friend that had it, everybody wanted to sleep over at their house, But by the time I got to teenage years, like people stopped playing it. A lot of people stopped playing it, or if they did, they were like closet gaming. And I was one of the few people that like I never pretended to be who I wasn't. I don't know if it would work against all bullies. I know every bully's different, but like people would try to bully me as I'm sitting in like the cafeteria playing Yu-Gi-Oh cards with my Game Boy out, maybe playing some Mega Man on my lunch break, and I'd just be like, what? It's fun. Like, play it. I was always very like open about being a gamer. And I wasn't walking around with like gaming clothes, but my parents were also like dirt fucking poor, so I had whatever they could get from fucking Value Village. But my parents never really complained too much. But my whole teenage years, my dad even would be like, you'll outgrow that. So whatever, enjoy it while you're a kid, but you'll outgrow it. You'll outgrow it. Everybody told me I would outgrow being a gamer. You'll stop when you're older. And it was like, I mean, is this some habit to like outgrow? And then when I got into the working world, that's when I'm closer to Zelatos in age, right? I'm 29, almost 30. I'm like 3 months from 30.
Yeah, I think Kyle said that they were that age too.
Yeah, Kyle, I think me and him have talked. We're only like 2 months apart. But, and when I got into the working world, like everybody I worked with treated it like it was worse than drugs. Like I remember getting like lectures from people that like, a guy I knew or a woman I knew that like, okay, I'm working at this shit fucking job, sorting bottles at a bottle depot to a bunch of people missing all of their teeth because of fucking methamphetamine, getting stung at by bees. And I'm working beside you, and you've been at this place for 7 years. So now, of course, you've earned yourself $1.50 more an hour. Good job. You're now making over 10. And you're 45.
Fuck.
Meanwhile, I'm 18, and I'm working at this place for $9 an hour. And you're telling me, as I know you spend more money on fucking marijuana than you do your goddamn rent, you're telling me that by playing my goddamn video games, I'm going to rot my brain out and accomplish nothing in my life. Getting actual lectures from like 3 adults. Meanwhile, they're sneaking away out of the boss's vision during their smoke break to have a joint.
Yo,
What the fuck?
You hit him with it.
So this is like my fucking teenage years dealing with people, and my gaming. So then I'm 20 years old. I'm playing World of Warcraft, right? I'm deep into it. I've got my fucking other, I've moved. I only worked at that bottle depot for like a month and a half. And I'm working at a tree farm, a tree nursery we called it, but it's a tree farm. And again, a lot of people work there, and me and a couple of my friends got hired onto this job. So, and we all raided together. We were all part of the same raid group. And so, it was cool. Like, all my high school friends are all, well, not all of them, but like 4 of them are all working in the same job. And again, now it's $10 an hour, because at that point, $10 an hour was minimum wage, right? And there's people that maybe were capping out at like $15 an hour. And some people think that's a pretty good wage, but you have to remember when you do like conversion from Canadian to American, and you have to realize like how much higher that is than minimum wage. Like, it's not that great a wage. And so, we would sit there and we would talk about World of Warcraft on our lunch break. And we could never go a single day without somebody interrupting our conversation, butting in to tell us that this thing we're doing is like speaking another language, and that we should, do normal things, they would tell us. You should do normal things, like, go outside. And I was like, my friend Jordan was a brown belt in judo and regularly went to tournaments. He was this close to getting his black belt, and then he kind of got to a point where he kind of outgrew judo. I don't really know. And I'm like, you realize that Jordan has like a brown belt in judo and almost has his black belt. You realize that this other person is like shredded and ripped as fuck. And, and I was something else I was doing, and I'm like, and you're working at the same job as me for $10 an hour, and you're 30, and I'm
Big
20.
oof.
Like, and they're telling me that I need to quit this gaming thing. It's going to rot my brain out. It's going to hold me back. They would tell me it would hold me back in my life. And because I'm playing these video games, I will accomplish nothing. Why are they interrupting my conversation about, killing Sindragosa or whatever fucking raid boss we were dealing with at the time? And I want to get this sword for this attack speed and all this shit, to tell me that I need to go play hockey. Go sit over there and talk about your stupid fucking sports. Like, I don't give a shit.
It's because they are sad, hollow people whose life is no longer going anywhere, and they want to suck the joy out of your life. I'm just saying.
Apparently. So then the one guy...
so fucking hard in the paint today!
And so they literally came up to me, and they said, and then one of them said, like, I don't know how you could sit down and play that video game all night. And I'm like, how long do you think I played last night? And they're like, well, by the sounds of it, like 8 hours. And I'm like, if I played fucking 8 hours, I would have only had like 4 hours sleep last night. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I played like 3.5 hours of this game. I don't know how you can sit there and do that. I'm like, wasn't there a hockey game last night? And they were like, well, yeah. I'm like, how long did that start to finish? Well, the 3 periods. No, but like actually from the start of the fucking game, when you actually turn on the show. And a lot of the time, the first period hasn't even fucking started, and people are watching like an hour before it starts as they're doing, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. I never understood how people watch sports. It's just never been for me. And I had this conversation with this person, and I was like, okay, look. You sat on the couch and drank beer alone and watched other people do things for 4 hours. I sat in a room with 4 of my friends, because we had the good internet, so they would literally bring their laptops to come raid from my house. And we worked as a team to accomplish an objective and then got wasted for the rest of the night. How much social activity did you have when you're telling me that I'm going to be antisocial by playing these video games? Like, you literally sat and watched other people do things while I was online doing things. Yes, it's a video game, but my ass was on a seat as long as yours was on a seat. Explain to me why my gaming is a problem and how it's going to hold me back. And I had I've had like 15 or 16 jobs in my like 10 years in the working world. And I think I'm finally in a spot where I'm not going to move anywhere. And everywhere I went, people would like treat that guy was an alcoholic. Just saying it right now, that was telling me I was going to hold my life back by playing video games. He was a straight up alcoholic. Like, he had that fucking constant, like, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer fucking nose go on, swollen, like, 3 times his normal size. That kind of alcoholic. In the
IRL
40s.
Bacchus.
Are you
IRL
just real
Bacchus.
life, like, Bad Luck Brian with your gaming? Like, what's going on, man?
And so, now I love my wife, but my wife is not a gamer. And I started dating her, and she actually didn't know I was a gamer. And she even admitted to me that if she knew I was a gamer, she wouldn't have gone on that first date with me. But she had such a poor opinion of gamers because her brothers actually meet the stereotype of like the bad gamer that's like, still living in the basement, and he's 31. Sorry, Kenny, if you're listening. But
roasted.
He's still working minimum wage and spends all of his time on games. So she had this terrible opinion of gamers when she first started dating me. Like, completely did not like gaming. But then when I started dating her, she realized that I put her in front of gaming because gaming is a hobby. It's not a fucking addiction. I mean, it can be an addiction, but it's a hobby, right? I mean, there's often times where I only get to play like 3-4 hours in a week, you know? And since I always treated it like a hobby and gave the appropriate time to it that a hobby allots, when you're, 18 years old and you're living on your own or with two of your best friends and you're single, yeah, you play a lot of fucking video games in the evening, right? Like, that's pretty fucking understandable. But, when I started dating her, it was like, I started skipping raids. I was like, no. My wife or my girlfriend gets home from university and she's done her homework. She finishes it early so that we could sit on the phone and talk for 2 hours before bed at 8 o'clock every night. That was like our goal. So I would only raid till 8, or I would just skip the raids if they needed me to go later than 8. Like, it was always, she was always priority number one over the gaming, right? It was always a hobby. And so because I had that attitude, I've actually changed her opinion towards gaming. When we first started dating, she was not into it. And she's still not into gaming. She's just like, it's your hobby. If she's like, you're playing too much, come spend some more time with me, do this stuff. I'll be like, okay. As a gamer, I can get kind of wrapped up in it. And, okay, I need to be told when I'm spending too much time.
Like any hobby, you get kind of
absorbed
sucked in,
right?
right?
Like, yeah.
Like,
but
buddy
open
playing with
communication,
his
right?
model trains in the basement. He's like, I've been doing this for 6.5 hours. No frame of time.
And I find with her, it's really easy if I schedule it. Like D&D, it's like, we are playing on this time a month from now. If she doesn't want, and then she'll like pre-plan things so that she's not just feeling alone down there. She knows I've got a scheduled event coming up, and she respects that. She respects it as a hobby. And then I felt like it did get a little bit better later on. Well, yes and no. So then I went and I tried to become a plumber, right? I don't know if everybody knows that, but I actually went to pre-apprenticeship training, and I actually worked as a plumber for nearly a year as an apprentice, and I was not cut out for plumbing. I am definitely an engineer in the way that I think. I overthought it. I was not very good at I wasn't very good at the tools. I'm very smart, but I wasn't very good at the tools. And a lot of them too, they would treat it fucking weird. Have I ever told the story about when I was working out in fucking in Prince Rupert for my first time ever working at an out-of-town job? It was actually before I moved out on my own. We were working out. I don't know if I guess most of the Americans don't know where Prince Rupert is, but it's like way up in northwestern BC. It's actually on the ocean, and it's a fishing town. This shithole rains 350 days a year. Like, nice. Actually, just its location, it's always raining, and the only reason it's populated is because of fishing. And we were there actually after fishing season. And now when you go to the heart of downtown, there's literally hotel, bar, hotel, strip joint, hotel, bar, grocery store, hotel, strip joint, hotel, strip joint. That's all that's fucking there.
At least the grocery store made it.
The grocery store made it, and like down the road, there's like a small mall, but like it's literally just hotels and strip bars. Like, that's it. And we're there after fishing season, so nobody's fucking there. It's a goddamn ghost town. And for some reason, we're also down, hotel, strip joint, old folks home. Whatever. We were repairing.
You just got to retire,
We were doing
sometimes
some work on an old folks home. And so I remember, like, I was out there for 3 months. So we were doing like a 6-in-1 rotation, which meant that I never went home for 3 months. I just lived out in Red Deer in a hotel. And if I didn't want to eat something from a microwave, I had to eat it at a bar. There was like no restaurants except pubs and bars and strip bars. And every night they would go to the strip club. Every night. And so they said, hey, Brian, instead of playing those fucking video games that you are in your hotel room, as I'm trying desperately to play some World of Warcraft on satellite internet in a rainy city. That was rough. I eventually said, okay, let's go to the strip joint. Whatever. I'll join my coworkers. I'll be social with these 40-year-olds. We go in there, and, there's me. There's my 3 plumbing coworkers that were there. There was 2 carpenters that were working for a different company working on the same job. There was the cook, the bartender, the bouncer, and the stripper. That was it. And
Singular on the stripper.
Well, I think there was the one stripper at the time, and she just wasn't there all the time. And
that's rough.
So they said, hey, okay, so we're eating food, and whatever, I'm having a good enough time socializing, having a drink or two. We literally chose the one closest to our hotel, so like there was no concerns about driving or anything. I could just walk there. And so, and then the stripper comes up, and I'm like, all right, whatever, let's go, right? I'm 19, which is, the age you can drink in BC. And so we go up, and there's multiple seats. Like, I've been to strip clubs later. I've never been a big fan of them, right? But we go up there, and there's not enough men in the bar to fill the front row seats to the stripper.
Ooh.
This is the most awkward situation I'm ever in my fucking life. And so I'm like, whatever, right? The internet's shoddy, but I can download porn, whatever. And then like that stripper comes up, and actually out of all the strip clubs I've been, she was the most attractive stripper I've ever seen. But weirdly out in fucking Prince Rupert. And none of them, like, they are all, like, the second she's there, they turn, none of them are blinking. Staring straight at her, throwing some money on it, cheering, hooting, hollering, like these 4 older guys. I was weirded the fuck out. I was like, what the fuck? This is so weird. It's one thing when you're at the strip club and it's a huge bouncing party and the stripper's over there and you're getting drunk over on the other side with your friends. But when you're literally, there's no one else in there except your 4 coworkers that are staring at her unblinking. It's fucking weird. And these guys were like, games are going to rot your brains out. You should really, grow out of that shit. You're 20 now or 19 now. I'm like, so anyway.
No thanks.
Go get an erection in a random building right now. Be a man.
And so
What?
I'm like, so this is
Hello?
my whole damn life, right? My whole young adult life is people just constantly telling me that I am going to fail because I'm a gamer. And so it kind of aggravated me. And then I noticed that once I got into university, people kind of still would like, oh, but that's going to hurt your grades and you'll never graduate if you don't. But then once I got to a certain point, like halfway through my engineering degree, and they realized I had, okay, I wouldn't say good grades. I was pretty average. I didn't give a shit. I just wanted a degree. But as I started to get a more respectable job, once I got into my co-op terms, people are like, well, you're an intern for an engineering company and you do really good work, right? They all wanted to hire me back. I was a really good worker. And all of a sudden now the fact that gaming was my hobby was just like, yeah, it's your hobby. It's not a hobby I share, but respect to you. By the time I got to my current job, tons and tons of respect for, none of them are gamers, by the way. My current job, I mean, I love all these people. They're all amazing people, but like most of them are older and like their 30s to 35s, married with kids and own a house. I work with a bunch of white picket fencers, white-collared white picket fencers. But I also have an amazing job, so, that's not that surprising. But once I got to this point, it's like people don't get it, but nobody's telling me I'm going to fail anymore because I've already succeeded. And there's almost just this kind of like respect for like, yeah, that's your thing. And like for the first time in my life, even at my last job, well, actually at my last job, one project manager was like, do your thing. And the other one's just like staring like, really? You play video games? But by the time I got to this stage where I'm finally in a successful position, it's not hindering my ability to do my job. And if anything, I've actually joked that because I've played so many video games, my job is literally I need to visualize a 3D object on a 2D surface as I'm 3D modeling. I would say I've got 29 years of visualizing 3D objects on 2D surfaces, and I'm actually one of the best in the team at visualizing 3D.
Yeah.
And it's almost entirely because of the amount of video games I've played, which has actually hugely helped my ability to do my job. And it's kind of refreshing. I mean, I still don't have any video gaming friends. I got no one to talk to it about at work. They all know I have a podcast, or many of them know, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, Brian does his thing, and I'm like known as the gamer. But I know as I went through, I like never pretended. I almost like Bryce, right? Like Bryce is close to me in my age. He's a closet gamer. People make fun of him when he's for it. And at my age, I'm like, I never was a closet gamer. I always like wore it. I don't know. I want to say loud and proud, but I feel like I'd be insulting, other communities. But I never hid it. I was very open about it. And because I was open about it, people would like hate on it. And then later on, just kind of respect it. They're like, yeah, that's you. That's your thing. And do what you enjoy. It's not clearly hindering your life, but I've just had constant my whole life. My parents were pretty okay with it. They were like, whatever, it's your hobby, you'll outgrow it. Well, you never outgrew it. And even now to my dad, at this point, he's like, well, you make more money than me, and I can't really fault your hobby. But I've had tons of people.
What you do in your spare time is up to you, dude. Well,
alcoholics and drug addicts literally telling me that video games will ruin
that'll
my
rot
life.
your brain.
That'll rot your brain out.
Meth is doing a pretty good job for you, buddy. I don't know.
The only thing we're outgrowing over here is peanut allergies. That's it.
Can't relate, 12-year-old thing.
I can. It's frightening.
All right.
I've never been allergic to anything. Feels great,
That's
man.
a solid Brian rant. It's been a while since I had a real
Oh.
good Good.
I was like, you know what, man, you haven't ranted all episode. I'm gonna let you go off.
Came in real hot.
I'm gonna let you go.
It was toasty.
I think we should close her out. We're hitting that 2-hour mark.
We are at the 2-hour mark. So there's a couple of things. I usually wanted to do announcements for Community Challenge, but I forgot. So first off, I'll announce next week's Community Challenge. And then I got some other SQA announcements to do, or at least one. So next week's Community Challenge. So I was talking about reading girly Facebook articles, because those things are addictive. And I saw one of those posts where it was like, what are the 4 words every woman wants to hear? Or what are the 4 words that'll end a first date real fast? And I submitted some funny responses, I thought. I won't bother reading them all right now. And so with that, what is the 4 words every gamer wants to hear? That's next week's Community Challenge.
Quick question about that. 4 words is in like 4-word statement or 4 separate words?
Like 4-word statement.
Okay.
So
like I brought hot.
You know what? You know what? 4 words people don't want to hear, Aiden. Space Call of Duty. That's what 4 words I don't want to fucking hear ever again out of your mouth.
Look
Never again.
Look at it. It's Space Call of Duty.
Yeah. It's 4 words.
I played it. I played it when it came out. Get the fuck out of here. Oh.
I don't know what to tell you, Flint.
But I think this will be a fun one. We were already making our own, like 4 words I want to hear. Soul Calibur release date. Final Fantasy VII Remake release. That's 5 words shit. FF7, we'll combine it into 1 word. Anyway, what are the 4 words? Wife is busy this weekend. What are the 4
Anything
words?
you could think of. Fired in the
4-word statements that every gamer wants to hear. And then as for the announcement to end the episode, so our first, we had segments in VD2, and we've been racking our brain to make something uniquely us that's a segment. And so, of course, I'm a schedule whore. I love setting things on schedules. It keeps my marriage going, I swear.
gets hot and heavy for those fucking agendas.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always in that Facebook chat.
It's like, oh yeah.
Oh, when he sees a calendar.
Pencil me in, Daddy. Let's do it.
I'm gonna color code these events.
Ooh, get the highlighter out. Oh,
Arrange them by time and date.
Oh yeah, alphabetical. Oh.
I put those fucking sticky tabs in the agenda. So I know
yeah, the fucking tabs, the pathfinders. Oh.
And just in case, I gotta put the donut holes on so that my binder doesn't rip the hole punches.
I haven't thought about donut holes in a while.
Oh,
You're welcome.
Anyway.
protectors.
Anyway, so the first segment that we came up with, Matt, we've got 2 that we've come up with. We'll try one of them at another time. But the first segment we've came up with is Boneless Beers Reviews.
Oh.
And so what we want to do is we're going to schedule it, and I'm going to announce the date, May 26th, probably sometime in the evening, right? I don't think we set the exact hour, but 5 o'clock-ish somewhere, so you can start drinking. And we're going to get drunk, and we're going to play a multiplayer game. We're going to probably record it, and we'll stream it. And I think for the first one, we're going to try playing Jackbox TV, which is a fun game that you can. I own a copy of it, and you can play with your phones. And actually, it's a game that I think anybody watching can participate in with their phones, as long as we got. You can play up to 8 people. I'm a little worried the delay will make it a little hard for anybody that's not in the immediate call. But there's ways you can play Jackbox TV even as watching. So the 4 of us are going to play. We've scheduled it so we can actually get all 4 of us into a game at the same time. May 26th, drinking hour is what we'll say for the hour right now. We're going to get drunk. We're going to play Jackbox TV. And then on the next episode, we are going to give it a Boneless Beers review. Basically, how good or how enjoyable is this game drinking on a weekend with your buddies? So that's our first segment we're planning on trying. This might turn out like Fuck This God, where we test it, we scrap it, and we pretend it never happened. Or it could turn out like Judgment of the Gods, where it's a fan favorite and people keep requesting for it. But that's our first attempt at a segment for SQA, May 26th, drinking hour.
That's it. All right. We got to do all the links and shit still. You want me to fucking try and...
Oh, yeah. You're filling in for Matt. You know what? When Matt's not here, you do it.
Okay. All right. Good to know. So, you made it to the end of the episode. Perhaps you'd like to follow us on our social media accounts to see what's going on. We have multiple ways of doing that. You could follow the podcast itself at SQA Podcast on Twitter.com. You could subscribe to us on YouTube, SideQuest Arcade. You can join our Discord, which is always popping. There are links to that in the Twitter, in the YouTube, in the Facebook, which you can also visit us at SideQuest Arcade on Facebook. If you'd like to follow the host, you can follow Brian at SQA_happiness, mind the underscore. You can follow Matt, although he's not here, at MadmanMattYT. You can follow me at MicroManatee. And you can follow Bryce at _Silent Please remember the underscore. He is very particular about that. We are. Do we do the clan still? Yes. No. Maybe so.
I'm not sure if you still play Smite because you know that's
Still
where it
play
came
Smite.
from.
Yeah.
You can check out the clans, which is VDS2 or
VSD2, VSDX, and VSDP, I believe, but I could be completely
I
wrong.
think it's
Anyway, we have
VSD2,
clans on
VD2P and VD2X.
VD2X, VD2P. You are correct. We have clans on Xbox. We have clans on PS4. We have clans on PC. They are all fan run, except for the PC one, which we run. Please join it. It's a great time. We know a lot of people that have made lifelong friends that way. If you want to listen to other episodes of the podcast, you can catch us here on YouTube. You can catch us on SoundCloud, Podbean, your mother's 8-track, iTunes, everything. And if you do happen to catch us on iTunes, please remember to give us a 5-star rating or just any rating at all. Let us know what you think. Leave a comment. Give us some feedback, ladies and gentlemen. We really need that. We like it. It gives us some special benefits on iTunes as well. So that would be fantastic. New episodes are out weekly, so you can always catch new content if you are ever in the need for an SQA fix. And I think that's pretty much it.
The other thing I can think of is for those that are audio listeners only, if you were curious, YouTube does have the video section of it, so you can see our dashing faces. And
yes, you can.
Thinking back to my announcement, I forgot to say whose Twitch we do it on. We'll probably do it on mine, which I think I've changed my Twitch. I think it's, I'll have to double check, but I think it's twitch.tv/SQA Happiness. I think I changed to SQA rather than VD2 Happiness.
Yeah, you did.
Because I think I'm the only one with a computer and internet powerful enough, maybe Bryce, to stream it and record it without dropping frames.
Same time. Yep. Definitely do that. With that being said, Aiden, thank you very much for being 12. Fuck you for saying Call of Duty. Listen on the show. I don't want to hear it. Me. Thank you for coming on the show. Fiona, you're also 12. Thank you for showing up and spending some time with your brother.
Still not 12. Still debatable whether this was enjoyable with you. But I enjoyed everyone else's company.
Brian, thank you very much for coming by as always.
Thank you.
And to myself, thank you for being here. With that, that is the end of this episode of SQA. Take your quarters off the table, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Wait, you're not here to say it. Bye-bye. There we go.
Thank you. I was waiting for it. All right.